just gonna have to start streaming. Yeah, man. Just whatever. Alright, folks. Chairman of the board. We should be coming through okay and everything.
My name is Sam, and that's not all. I got a pretty good show with my good friend Paul. So listen up to the chairman of the board. I talk to him and he talks to me. We talk a lot of shit, but you get it for free. So don't complain, these gadgets cost a lot. So now we're at the end of the song, and everybody knows what's going on. So here we have the chairman of the, yes we have the chairman of the board. Because we're bored.
Hi, folks. Just give us this. I'm just checking that we're actually coming through because I haven't actually tested the mics. So I'm watching the podcast on my iPad just to make sure that there's audio. I've got audio on this thing, that's cool.
Is that the live stream, eh?
Yeah. I need to wait till the intro. The board.
Because we're bored. Hello.
Alright, cool.
Up a wee bit.
Yeah.
That's fucking weird, Sam.
Right, that's fine.
Hello, hello,
We're
hello.
good.
I can't hear my headphones. Can you hear me?
Your headphones.
That's right up.
One sec. Talk.
Talking. I can hear it, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Easy.
Sorry, folks. We're a bit all over the place. I'm turning the volumes up a little bit. Just talk, Paul, again.
Talking about stuff. Talking
Right.
about
You,
Chairman of the
you
board.
shouldn't be too loud or anything. Aye, this is a bit of an impromptu, I guess.
It's always impromptu now, Sam.
Is
I just kind of text Sam and be like, you know, podcast. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, in fact, you know what we'll do as well?
What will we do, Sam? Tell me.
Just
Got some stuff this week.
just to be extra safe.
Yeah?
Oh
What
no,
the fuck is that?
we are not receiving video data fast enough. What the fuck?
Is that
Alright, yeah, Kieran's saying it looks and sounds great. I'll tell you what, just Kieran, if you can just message us again just to let us know it's still good.
Oh, did
'cause
you
it's-
post it on the Facebook, Sam?
Yeah,
Right, I'll share it on mine as well.
it's coming up that we've got a bad stream. I don't know. So give us another comment, Kieran, and let us know. Fucking hell. I don't know why. I don't know why it does that. I think it just... Oh, there we are. It's set to good now.
Are we good?
It should
We
be
are
fine.
live.
Why doesn't it just work? Still waiting on that message.
Nothing just
Kieran.
works, Sam.
Let me just turn off everything
I think.
I've got up here because maybe
Yeah.
that's fucking with stuff. How's it going, Paul? How are you doing?
I'm good, Sam. I've got some things this week.
Got some news.
I've got some funny stories. I've got some anecdotes.
I'm not getting a comment for Kieran here.
It's because the satellite delay. Or maybe it's just because the whole fucking thing's crashed.
Refresh it. Yes, everything is fine. Right,
yes,
cool.
everything is
Right,
fine.
everything's good. Woohoo!
Good in the
we
hood.
can-
Hello, Kieran.
And hello, Kieran. Aye, but the one guy that's watching
The one
probably.
guy that's watching. And maybe your mum. Your mum sometimes watches. Hello, Kieran.
Kieran's one. All right, my mum. I
Kieran's mum might be watching. I don't know.
was gonna say.
It could be like a family. They could be sitting down with the dinner. I don't know. Eating
Yeah.
some vegetarian pasta.
Chairman of the board, family moment.
Pasta and broccoli. Yeah.
Whoo! So, aye.
So
Well,
this is the
we
fallout of the Chris Fleming podcast.
yeah, we kind of haven't done a podcast, just me and you, for a while because
Mm-mm.
it'd been ages, and then we had Chris on, and then
Yeah.
the first one he had to leave, and then the second one we had him back on.
Yeah.
So we've not done one in a while, I guess.
No, I know. I forgot kind of what to do about it. There was one thing I was thinking about today, in the past couple of days actually. I've not watched it all back. I watched some of it back. But one thing I thought, I don't know why I did it when he was on, but I did this, like, me and him were having a wee debate about the whole electric cars and like older cars, and he was saying the older cars were better because they were like easier to fix and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, but like newer cars, like you can just plug it in and all that kind of stuff. Like, fucking, I disagree with that point. Like, I agree with him. Like, it's easier to work on older cars because they're simpler. But I don't know why I was defending it. I was like, no, you're wrong. And I just fucking, I don't know. I was like, that's a really weird angle for me to take.
Well, but what? So what? You mean you're going back now on what you said? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if I was just wanting to wrong him or like if I was I'd just try to be difficult or something. But like I kind of agree with him, to be honest. And then even thinking about my
But
point,
it's like you were saying though, a bit like they've got more in them now.
yeah. But
So-
then even I said on the podcast, I was like, they've got more in them, so more can go wrong. And I was like, that's a backwards point. That does. Do you know what I mean? And he was like, the older ones are simpler. And you're like, yeah, but the new ones have got more in them, so more can go wrong. Do you know what I mean? His thing was that the older ones were simpler,
But if it's a spaceship, right? If we had a spaceship,
right?
and then someone said to you, "Oh, we've got a spaceship.
Uh-huh.
We can fly out into space,"
Yes.
and then you said, but more can go wrong. A car's easier. Like, yeah, more can go wrong because there's more. Like your point, I thought your point was valid. There's more stuff. It's far more complicated.
But
so
even in the sense,
there's
like,
more of a potential
when he
of
was
things
talking
going
about
wrong.
like mechanics and stuff like that, he was like, "Oh, mechanics like think that like older cars are like far easier to work on because there is less like it's just like an engine, like it's more mechanical, and it's easier to fix, like it is."
Yeah.
And like rather than all this other shit like air conditioning units and things that can like fuck up and cost like a lot of money to replace, like older cars are far easier to like. I think they are, but I don't know why I was like, and I do kind of like did see where he was coming from, but I kind of I agree with like what I was saying as well, but I think I went too far and I was like to a point, and I was after it, I was just like, I don't know if I like agreed with myself that much. I was just like feeling, I was just like, no, you're wrong. But I thought I was like, that was really weird for me to do.
Yeah.
Because I've always been like, I fucking don't know. Like I've got a new car, and like the fucking finance that we don't want to speak about and all that kind of stuff. But like sometimes I wish I had an older car just because I like them better. Do you know what I mean?
Well, car enthusiasts tend to like
yeah, I
the older
suppose
models
so.
better. It's a weird one for me to talk about because I really don't know anything about cars. Like, I'm really fucking... I was never into cars, like, growing up or anything like that. It was just not a thing that interested me at all. And so, like, we'll be walking down the street and, like, Hazel, my fiance, knows more about cars than I do. Like, she'll be able to say that's a Mercedes or a Nissan or a BMW or whatever. I'm just like the blue one. Like, I can't look at a car and tell what make or model or anything like that. I don't know anything about the insides of a car. I really just don't know anything about a car. So when you're saying like the older ones there's less goes wrong with it.
No, I don't know if it's like less goes
or
wrong
that it's
with
easier
it.
to...
It's easier to kind of fix because it's just like essentially like an engine and like the runnings of the engine and
But
then the
isn't it
car
like-
attached to it.
So one thing I do know about is PCs.
Yeah.
And I know about the internals of a PC and the motherboard and the RAM and all that stuff. Now I used to have towers, like I used to have about 6 towers, and they'd all have... None of them would be working. They'd all have like different parts wrong with them or whatever. And I'd play around with them and stuff like that. And I'd be more likely to fix one of them if something goes wrong
than to fix a car.
Well, than to fix like a Mac. You know?
Aye.
So
Maybe
you could say
that's-
it's easier to fix
So
those ones.
that's
I know
like
what I
a
was
new
doing.
like your Mac's like a new electric car and they're like the older cars.
Yeah, but if you ask me, would I rather have a Mac, which is harder for me to go in and fix, and I can't fucking... But with everything that it's like, it's so compact and so like, it's just perfect.
It's just nice.
Would I rather have that or something that I can tinker around with?
Yeah.
Like, no, I'd rather have the Mac.
But then, like, see, like, if you ask people that were, like, PC enthusiasts, like the gaming guys, they'd be like, no, give me a PC, I can put, like, a motherboard in it, like a graphics card, and it'll be, like, the fucking bomb.
You will get that. And I think there's a nostalgia to it as well. I think people who have invested time in tinkering around with shit, they don't want to see that as time wasted. Because I could easily look at the Mac and say, everything I learned about how to install a RAM chip, how, like, fucking around with the motherboard,
that's, like, irrelevant on this.
Yeah, flashing drives, like... It's completely irrelevant. It's almost like it's time wasted.
Yeah, and they always say like
I'm not holding on to that baggage though. Like, I don't care. I'm fairly happy with the Mac. And Well, people who like to customize things,
they go for other stuff, and they'll say like with a Mac, like if it goes wrong, like just get a new one, or like they'll replace it or something like that. They won't bother like taking it apart and like replacing this and that. They'll just be like, just get a new one. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But I kind of thought, like, because I love my cars and that, and I've always thought that about cars like this. The simpler they are, the kind of easier.
So then you're wondering, why am I disagreeing with Chris Fleming?
I felt like I was, but then even in my argument, I was like, my argument isn't holding up here. And I wonder if people were sitting there going like, he's fucking talking like bullshit, because I'm sure I said at a point like, there's more things to go wrong. So like, that was like a pro for the newer cars. I fucking don't know what I said, but I was just like, I don't really feel this
you were
makes
saying
sense.
There's more things to go wrong. That's obvious because there's more stuff in
But then I was like, you can plug this thing in, it'll tell you what goes
Yeah.
wrong. But then surely, like, if it's older, then there's less to go wrong. But I suppose it's harder to figure out what is going wrong with it. I don't know.
Well, look, even if it's older, that's not the point though. Even if it's older and it's easier to find out what's because there's not air conditioning, there's not a CD player, there's not all these electronics. So yeah, it's easier. But the point is, what would you rather have? Realistically,
Something easier.
You need fucking air conditioning in your car.
Yes.
So you could say, well, remove the air conditioning. That way, if something goes wrong, it's easy to fix. But then you're removing air conditioning. You need the air conditioning.
I know what you mean.
You need like those little improvements, those little things that
they make it better.
That might be harder to fix. And you're saying like, I mean, you do get this code reader, whatever it is, that you can plug in and help detect problems. You need all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you don't need it, obviously, but what would you rather have at the end of the day? You're weighing up the problems versus what you can benefit from, the features of it.
I know what you mean. There was
I would rather have a new car, and especially if we're talking
I think the thing that annoys me.
I've just realised as well, this was the point of the conversation that was putting everyone to sleep last week.
I think I started to lose the point. Like, sometimes I was just like, I don't know where it was going. Do you know what I mean? And then I think sometimes I zoned in and out of things, and then I don't know if I was just trying to make it fun for myself, but just gonna like. But I just
to be fair to you as well, you were up at 6 the next morning, so you were probably
I went to fucking bed. I know, and then he fucking was so late as well. But like the other week, my car was like, as you all know, my car is a brand new top of the line, fucking ticked up to my eyeballs on this fucking car and all this kind of stuff. But like the other week, it was just like it's really been shit recently, and it's like an engine problem as well. Like, I know it's not like an electrical thing. So my pal's a mechanic, right? So we're out in the car, and people that were in the car like don't really notice that the problem was there, but I can feel it when I'm driving it. And he's a mechanic, right? And he was just like, so, what's wrong with your car? And I was like, you can feel that. Like, you could feel that it wasn't quite pulling, or maybe like stammering a wee bit. It was like, aye, so like we pulled over, and then he was like, he opened the bonnet, and I was like, just like, it was like a doctor. It was so weird. Like, he was like, he had the car running, and then he was like, kind of got out, and he was just like, opened the bonnet and that. He took this wee cover off the engine, and then he's like, and he's just like putting his hands on it, and he's listening. And I was just like, that's so weird. It's like he's feeling like the heartbeat, and then he's like, I think you've got like a misfire or something. I was like, that's crazy, man. And he's like, and he's feeling it. He's like, you've got a misfire in like that cylinder, because like they're all in a row. And he's like, I think it's in that one. And then so like a couple of days later, he comes round with the code reader and plugs it in that, and it's like, oh, you've got a random misfire. So he takes it all off and that, and like takes the coil pack and that out, and like at this cylinder, like where the coil pack goes into like the spark plug, it was all like corroded, so it wasn't getting a spark at this end. When he was like, there's one, but there's one in the middle as well. I was like, he fucking just like called it. Do you know what I mean? He was like, I think that's what it is, and he could like hear it. It was so weird.
And what do you think? That guy, having spent, I mean, he doesn't just know that stuff. He's obviously spent a lot of time
studying
looking into cars.
Yeah.
He's probably he's a proper mechanic.
Yeah.
So he's probably been on courses and spent money to be on those courses.
Yeah.
He's had a lot invested.
Yeah.
And learning this stuff. So if you were to say to this guy, I'm just speculating, but if you were to say to this guy, what do you think of electric cars? You know, if we do away with all this engine stuff and it's just a battery, like what would you think of that?
What would say?
I bet you. Maybe not him specifically, but a lot of people would feel instantly threatened by it.
Well, see, he works in Ford, right? So they get like, it's all Fords that they deal with basically. It says an odd time you'll get like another kind of car in, but mainly it's Ford because it's a Ford dealership. But so he works in Ford, and then they get all these like courses. So he'll be like he was saying, like, I was always taught when I was in college, because I went to college to study it, whereas he's done an apprenticeship with Ford. So you would get taught, like, mainly Ford things, right? So I remember in college, and then we're getting taught about, like, I think an example was, like, on battery terminals or something, on, like, Renaults, like, on normal cars, like the two, it's like a black and a red wire that go to the battery, but for some reason, like a Renault, it's like a black and a yellow wire. And it's like, and every car's different, like, every car will build it in a different way, if you know what I mean. Like, each manufacturer thinks that, like, they've got a better way of doing things, and so every car's different, and it's a good way to do it in a not a Ford garage, because he'll just deal with Fords, but, like, because my car's kind of new and all the cars are kind of similar, but, like, if you showed him something really out of, like, left field, it would be completely different to what he's used to, if you know what I mean, because it would be different built and it would be different configured and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know if Ford's getting, like, electric cars. I don't know, but then if they did have it, he would go on a course to, like, learn specifically about, like, Ford's electric cars that they were bringing out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe when they bring them out, we can get him on and be like, listen, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
I've not really spoke to him about electric cars, actually.
I'm trying to, in my head, sort of, as I say, I don't know too much about cars, but
Aye.
I guess it's kind of almost like the same thing. Like, but luckily PCs mostly are pretty much the same, you know.
Yeah.
But so let's say, like, the Mac's, like, probably the internals of it are completely different, you know, to PC. So even that, I've got a knowledge PC. Even if I did open up my Mac, I'd probably have to kind of figure out, wait, what's this thing? What's that doing?
It would look completely different.
But what I was going to say is, you've got as well, and not to be, like, conspiratorial about all this stuff, but have more problems with sort of the newer technology. Like, there is such a thing as built-in planned
the obsolescence. Aye, I mean, you talking about that. Aye.
So you wonder as well, like, about you know, these new things. You'd expect them to be more efficient because it's the new thing.
I kind of thought Chris had a good point the other day when he was talking about tyres. Like, because cars have always got tyres, but they always, like, they're wear and tear. So could you make, like, a more practical tyre?
Well, I would try and just, if there are a problem with that sort that needs replaced, then it just seems like a fucking nuisance.
Yeah.
I would just say, well, is there any way we can do away with the fucking tyres? Because that's one of the things. One of the things I had in the film that people now are saying that's wrong is the solar roadways.
Yeah.
Because basically Thunderfoot, this guy, he did a video on solar roadways debunking it and all this stuff, and basically, I mean, he does a good job debunking it, but it's in the context of, you know, a market system, and how much would it really cost to buy all the glass to do all this, and then one of the things he goes on about is the tires, and having the tires is going to fucking wear down this you know, this glass. No matter what kind of glass it is, the tire's going to wear on it. It's gonna bend it and all this stuff. And my answer to that would be, well, can we think about something else that's not tires? You know, does it have to be tires? Can't we have some sort of new integrated system where it's like on some sort of track or something like that?
See, I always kind of wondered this. Like, do you know, like, we've got, like, obviously, like, railways everywhere. Right, imagine, like, back in the day, like trains were, like, the most prevalent way, like, getting about the country before cars came along, right? So cars came along, like, 1900 or whatever, like, early cars, and they weren't that great. Like, they could only go, like, you could, like, run quicker than a car could go, but
they had less problems, Paul.
But they had less problems, right? But I always wondered, like, what if instead of cars just becoming simpler and all that kind of stuff, and people are like, right, we're really going to invest time in cars, we're going to make cars better and more like friendly for everybody to use and more like user friendly and this kind of stuff, right? What if they were just like, I don't know if that really works, let's just fucking, like, concentrate on trains, right? And they just had like as opposed to, like, motorways, they just had, like, tracks going up, like, where motorways would be, and there'd just be, like, loads of trains going about everywhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would that be like
you do get, like, sort of those little mini carriages that are kind of
like the wee trams in them?
I think they have. Is it one of the airports they have them? I think it's
it's Heathrow or something.
Yeah. So yeah, you could have. I mean, it's a sort of train line
if, like,
type
if that
system.
went another way, and instead of just roads everywhere, it was just, like, rails.
Yeah.
And folk just, like, whizzed about on.
See, I don't see the argument against that.
But then I think now, if you were going to do that, you would need to kind of go and like you would need to go backwards, and you would need to kind of undo the roads. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, this is
Like think about like lorries, like in the old, like when it was like trains, and that trains was like how you got like all the shit to like another factory or something like that back in the day. But like now it's all like lorries. Like you go down the motorway, like going like wherever, like say you're driving like down south, like there's just loads of lorries going up and down the motorways all day. Like imagine if that was like trains. Like trains can carry a lot more than a lorry, and they can go quicker and all that kind of stuff. They don't need to worry about traffic, and they can just go like kind of straight to where they're going. If you had some kind of system that like they could break off the carriages easier, maybe like if you got trains, say you had like a rail grid that went all over the country, but each like carriage was like maybe like you could have like your carriages, like say you're fucking like B&Q or something, right? So the B&Q like home or Tesco, like there's like the big massive Tesco depot like over in Bathgate, right? So they've got other lorries out the back that are on rails, right? But then they just send them out and they just load them up at Tesco, right? And they just go out like Amazon things, like the wee Amazon bugs or the wee robot things that you use. And then that just goes straight to like Allo Tesco's.
I think this is where like Jacques Fresco in the Venus Project, this is probably where he began. Like his train of thought was like, you know, his train of thought. What if we didn't, you know, what if we could improve the efficiency? And then it's like, well, they need to be on roads because the buildings are located in a certain position. Then it's like, well, wait a minute, what if we had the buildings like the warehouses? What if they were located kind of more conveniently next to the train? And then I mean that's where, you know, the foundation, the central planning comes from, and then you build it outward, and eventually you just end up with like the Venus Project.
Like it would work, like if you just designed it around that. Do you know what I mean?
And that's why the Venus Project, everything's like equidistant, everything's like sort of just set up for efficiency.
I totally agree.
And that's what that is. And but what Chris was saying as well about the, and that's another thing as well. It does take a redesign of everything. Yeah. One of the things, just since I was already talking about like PCs and stuff like that. I remember doing an IT course years ago, and one of the lecturers told me that there was some sort of development in RAM memory,
right,
where they were using this like organic material.
Right.
I know this was years ago. He was explaining it to me, so I won't get into the details, right? But it was some sort of organic substance, that by using this substance, you could basically get the effect of RAM memory, you know, millions of times over. It was like such an improvement. But in order to make this a viable product, it then makes obsolete not every other RAM chip, but every other motherboard that's set up for to use the RAM chips that we have today.
Oh, because it would need to be programmed.
The motherboards would need to be reorganized. Like, so you've got one thing that solves the problem of how do we increase RAM, but in order to implement it, everything else needs to be restructured. So it's almost like that. It's the same thing. Like we're saying, we've got this one, we could do away with tires, but everything else needs to be fucking
everything else needs to be changed. Cars will need to be reorganised. Kind of
so it almost is like we need a fucking redesign, because everything's just going to waste. We're doing things so fucking inefficiently and effectively, and if we were to redesign everything, that's what Jacques Fresco's thought of. He thought if we were to redesign everything from the ground up,
trains and like them trains that are on like magnetic tracks and stuff like that.
Maglev.
So they don't have any of that. And there was actually I seen a thing. It was some really old video. I don't know where I found it. It was on some forum I was stumbling across one day, and it was in I want to say France. They kind of made this train, right, and it was like a jet powered train. But it was, and this is like fucking like war times or some shit, and it was like kind of magneted off the rails, and it was like fucking flying, but it was like too like cost effective and all that kind of stuff. And you're like, well, why did that not, like, do you know what I mean? That could have cut down on so much stuff. Like maybe burning jet fuel, and that isn't the most like kind of eco friendly way, but at that time, like, it's the start of a good idea.
Yeah.
And then you've got like things like, and then you're just like, well, why are they fucking like sticking with these like the trains that we've got now that are so slow in that?
Yeah.
And then you've got Concorde and stuff as well. Like that was like you could get across the Atlantic like quicker than ever, and now they're just like it's like too expensive and that.
What I think of as well is like we're talking about exponential growth. And for people who don't know what exponential growth is, it's like linear growth is, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exponential growth is it doubles every time, so it's 1, 2, 4, 8, whatever. So this is why solar power is looking so good for the future, because it's growing exponentially. And when it first started, it would have been at 0.000001% of the current energy that we use. But because it's doubled every 2 years, and that's on trend, every 2 years it doubles. It's so exciting to think we're now at the point where it's at like about 1.5% of the energy that we use. So if that trend continues doubling almost every 2 years, we're looking at, a short space of time, we're going to be at 100% of what we now use.
Yeah.
And I like to think back and go, like, what if, like you're saying in France, all these fucking years ago, if they developed something, if they improved something, just even by 1%, that exponential growth of that improvement,
so different,
that would have affected that would have changed everything. Like almost kind of like the butterfly effect a little bit. So so my goal is to try and improve every single thing, even if it's only by like a percentage. So even like encouraging my mom when she was thinking about getting solar panels, I was like, do it, fucking do it. And it doesn't matter that it's like it's I mean, it started off, we were said this last week as well, but it started off they were about 30 grand. My mum got them now for about 5 grand or something.
Yeah.
Like, even if you thought, well, I'll wait a couple of years and then it'll be even cheaper, like, fuck that train of thought. Just get it now, improve it now, because even if you've improved, solar panels in Clackmannanshire for, 1% or 0.1%, you've made an improvement. In the future, so do it with everything, and as well, like, even because I'm an Apple fanboy, I want Apple to succeed and take over the world and everything. So my mum was saying, she's getting offered this deal with her phone company and everything to get a Samsung, and I'm just like, don't touch it, don't go near Samsung, because it's you're voting with how you spend your money,
like
how you're spending money, that counts as a vote somewhere. You know? So just
somebody's getting the monopoly on it.
Yeah, do what you know is good for the development of the future. And I'm sure there'll be people, even Kieran, arguing with me about why Apple is bad and all that stuff. But anyway, what was I going to say? The tires, though. Chris was talking about the tires. One thing, not to jump off the deep end and go, we can do away with tires and have just tracks and stuff like that. Even just looking at if you look at the number of cars that are out there in the world that are like, on a daily basis driving around, that number is projected to decrease because people just aren't going to need to fucking drive around as much.
Right.
So, like, if just as a shitty example, if you're working at McDonald's,
yes,
the way it is just now, okay, you need to drive to McDonald's and then you work there and then you drive home, whatever. If you're working in an office somewhere where your job is sorting through data sheets, databases, spreadsheets, or whatever, it's now getting to the point where why do you need to be in that building? Yeah, you don't have to.
In the house. Yeah,
you're going to be in the house, and so a lot of jobs, because jobs are becoming more and more to do with computers. Yeah, and because we're becoming more and more connected. Even there's a lot of people, a lot of like CEOs and stuff like that are like sort of utilizing Skype to do office meetings and stuff like that. Don't know why I had to throw office in there. Just meetings.
Office meetings.
The meetings, like they now just do it over board meetings. They'll do them over Skype, and that saves so much fucking time on each individual person traveling. Yeah. And even if it's an international fucking board meeting and you have to travel overseas and all that stuff,
it's crazy.
Like, that's all done away with now just because someone invented Skype.
But even then, like, you've got the phone. Do you know what I mean? Like, why could you not just phone it?
Well, if you're going to do a presentation,
I suppose
and you've got a chart or something that you want people to see,
and you've got these like remote viewings and that you could set up. You could just be like, right, log in. I'm going to pull up a PowerPoint
and
or something.
You don't really have to set up like the big cameras. There's actually office like HQ like being designed with Skype in mind. Like, they're embedded, so all the cameras in the office are set up so that you can switch between the different chairs, like focus on different people if you want to talk to someone specifically, or like the big presentation board, whatever it is, it's all set up so it's all integrated and stuff like that. So that's another thing that Chris would say, it hasn't happened yet.
Oh,
yeah, we're just at the very
it's in
fucking
Star Wars,
beginning.
like when you see them and they've got like the meeting at a big long table and there's all the holograms sitting.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So that's where we're headed, and we're at the very beginning of it now. So my point is anyway that the number of cars on the road is going to diminish, which in turn, then the tires are going to last longer, and then the planned obsolescence will kick in, and they'll be like making the tires really shitty. They'll find another way to get more money out of it. But yeah, so it's people with their office jobs or whatever, they're going to be able to do stuff from home. And there's even like there's I can't remember any of the names of these companies, but someone was saying to me how you can basically I'm making a video game as well, which is something I'm now able to talk about. So,
right.
We'll probably end up talking about that. But someone was saying to me, like, if you need someone to do a bit of animation or whatever it is, rather than having to hire an employee that comes to my offices and sits and does his work for however long, you can now auction off the jobs.
I mean, you're saying that,
and so you'll get like people in India and people
that'll just do it.
Yeah, that are like fucking so educated on like all that kind of shit. They know what they're doing, and then so you'll say, I need this type of animation, or here's my character model. I need him to be able to do, and you'll give like a list of all these different animations, and they'll all bid for it's the lowest price. I'll do it for this much. Well, I'll do it for a penny less. I'll do it for even cheaper. So it's like eBay but in reverse kind of thing, and then so you end up. So, and that's just me, like, sitting here making a fucking video game. But, like, think about all the companies, if they embrace that, which I don't know if they will, because they tend not to do shit like that. Like we were talking about before, how Microsoft Office, every company in the world has to fucking pay a license fee. Yeah.
I know, the free stuff for that kind of thing. I don't know the name. Shareware and that kind of thing. Is that the name for it?
Shareware, probably, something like that, yeah. But it's open, open software, so... open office, like, it won't be used in companies because everyone coming from college and university is trained to use Microsoft. And then the colleges won't change because they're putting them into the workforce where everyone's using Office.
Microsoft,
So it's another one of these things where, like, could we just reset?
Is it Open Office or something it's called?
Open Office, yeah. It's another kind of thing. Like, I don't know if it'll get embraced or if people will reject it or whatever. But I suppose the more the money starts running out and, inflation and all that, and people are looking for ways to cut corners, they might end up embracing that whole thing where they can do work for a lot cheaper.
It's crazy. See, just you're talking about like Open Office here. A few, maybe like a month ago, my mum wanted me to go with her to help her buy a new laptop. And I used to know a wee bit about computers, but I really don't anymore. But like I've obviously got a wee bit more knowledge than her. So we went and she was looking at this laptop, and I think she'd picked one out with the help of my sister. It was on a good deal in PC World. So we went, and then I was just like, hey, that's fine, get it. And then, but then this like saleswoman came over, and she was just trying to sell every bit of shit under the sun. Like honestly, my mum was like, will it run like out the box? And this is a laptop. It's not like a PC that you maybe will. I don't know. I don't even say you would struggle with plugging a PC in, like with a tower and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, but maybe some people would. So the woman was like, "Oh no, like we'll set it up for you for like 25 quid," and I was like, "And how would you set it up?" And she's just like, "Oh, we would like set it up and get it all running." And that I was like, "But what do you need to do?" I was like, "So you're telling me that I can't take that out of the box and it'll just run?" She's like, "No, like it'll run, but then we need to like put things on it." I was like what? And she's like, "Oh, well, we could get you, like, the Microsoft package." And I'm like, "Wait, you don't need that. Like, there's Open Office and that kind of stuff." And she just kept, like, all this stuff. And then there was she kept going on about this, like, a backup thing. Like, how, like, you get, like, a Windows disk.
Yeah.
She was like, "You need this, like, Windows disk, like, to reinstall Windows if, like, something happens." I was like, "Well, what would happen to it?" And I was like, "No, we don't need that." I was like, "We can just, like, any PC shop that you'll take it into, if something really goes wrong with it, we'll have a Windows disk and they can just put it in it. We don't need to buy one off you for, like, 30 quid.
Aye.
And then it turned out that it wasn't a disk, it turned out to be a USB stick, but it was already in the box. And I was like, "So you're fucking trying to sell me that, but it's in the box already?" It was so much, like, honestly, man, it was unreal.
And the like, I was antivirus as well.
I didn't know about that. I was like, fair enough, take the antivirus stuff. I don't know if you can get it for free somewhere.
That shit either,
but so she got the Norton antivirus, but it was just all this like setup stuff, and she was like, "Oh, we need to like set up like your a username and that. I was like, but only she's going to use it. You don't need to set up multiple usernames. And I was like, I don't like this, because it was Windows 8 that was on it, and I was like, I don't like all these tails, so I would just like, and my mum wouldn't know what the fuck that was, because that's like a whole nother world for the computer that she's used to, like the start button and like the taskbar and all that kind of stuff. I was like, so we'll just put it on that. She's like, well, we've got like a helpline that you can sign up for, and it's like, it costs so much a month if you don't know how to use the computer. And I was like, but we don't need to use that. And she's like, and we'll need to like download like a Google Chrome onto it and all that kind of stuff for you. I was like, why? And she's like, and I was like,
if you
surely
go
you just go
Google,
to like,
if you go on to Google on any browser,
she's telling me that
nothing.
She was like, there was fucking nothing on this computer. I was like, we'll just go into like, I was like, they'll be Internet Explorer on it, because they all use apps and this kind of shit now on a laptop. And she's like, yeah. I was like, so you'll just go into that, and then I can just go and download like Google Chrome. And she's like, yeah. And she's like, but when you download it, it won't be on the desktop. It'll just come up.
Browser.
It might be hard for you to get it onto the desktop. It'll come up in the tiles bit for your apps. And you were saying that you don't like the tiles. I was like, I don't like the tiles because I just like it used to be. I was like, but it'll fucking Google Chrome when I download it. It's not just going to be hidden away where like my mum's like, where the fuck is it? Where is it? Where is it? Do you know what I mean? I was like, this is some horse shit. Oh, it's so fucking. I went home, I turned it on. It's like, hello. Just came straight up on like the desktop and that. I'm like, right, push this Windows button and it just makes it look normal. That's fine. Just use it like any other computer. I went and downloaded like the Chrome app for her because I don't like the Internet Explorer and all that kind of stuff. So she got Chrome and like she's fine. And she's worried about. She was asking about like, I don't think she's like.
Oh, we've got more people.
I'm gonna have some toast. Where's Fleming?
Yeah, got some people here. Oh Jesus Christ, there's a lot of people.
I think it's just the same people.
It's the same people. There's a lot of comments. That's alright.
But so it was it was ridiculous. But like my mum had this great confusion about like when I go into the computer, I put in a password. I was like, yeah, like when she went onto the old computer, when she went into her user, and she's like, but then like when I go onto like my email, I need to put in another password. And I was like, right. But then she didn't seem to she kept going on about having to put in 2 passwords. I was like, no, you just go into like your email account, like through like your internet, like Chrome or whatever, and just put it in there. And it took her a while to get her head round. For a while, she thought that, like the laptop was touchscreen and all this kind of stuff. But she got there eventually, and like she's sitting using it fine now. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like that woman, if I hadn't been there, like she just would she had so much shit. My mum actually, she was on. She would say something fucking really funny the night. Like, it's 4:20 today. Everybody's blazing up and talking and all that kind of stuff.
Kevin, where are you?
He's fucking like he's like fucking living in a tree or something right now.
I'm gonna message him. 1 sec. He should be here. Keep telling you.
So I went over to my mum's and my brother and his girlfriend are away to Amsterdam for obvious like 420 related reasons.
420 related reasons.
Right, so they're away to Amsterdam today. It's some kind of crazy thing where like you get a ferry over, and I'm sure the ferry goes overnight, and then like tomorrow they'll be in Amsterdam for like a day. Like I don't know if it's like 8 hours or something like that, and then they'll get the ferry back the next day. So they're like away to Amsterdam for 420, blaze it up and all that kind of stuff, right? So and they've got like pets in the flat, right? So they've got these. Is it 4 rats they had? For a while they had 2 rats, and then they got more rats, so they had 4 rats. There's a rat in my kitchen, what am I gonna do? There's a rat in my kitchen, what am I gonna do? I don't know what that's from. I would love if somebody else was like, I fucking know that reference.
Actually, I can't. I don't
is
know.
It a thing,
I don't
Sam?
know what it's from. It is a thing. I don't know what it's from. Maybe somebody in the chat can help us. There's a rat in my kitchen, what am I gonna do? Sorry.
So they've got these rats, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then a little while ago they got more rats, and they got some cats as well. So rats are really good pets. It's not like I'm saying like they're minging, they've got like fucking manky rats in the house. Like they're all housed. I don't know if you can house train a rat, but they live in cages. Like it's totally legit rats. Right? So
legit rats.
Legit rats. They're not like some fucking backstreet like crooked teeth and fucking like eye patchy rats, like gangster rats or something. So they've got all these like 6 rats. They've got the 2 cats and all this kind of stuff, right? So obviously they sit and like have a smoke in the house. Right, and Mum was telling me like when this is going on, she's like, "Oh, have you seen Chris and Sammy? I've got cats." I was like, I've seen." They used like, "Oh, they've got more rats and this kind of stuff." So the day I was over, and like they're like, Mum's like, I don't know what like box like she lives in or so, like I don't know like if I was like the first, if somebody says Amsterdam to me, I'm going to Amsterdam. The first thing I think of is like you're going to smoke weed. Like it wouldn't really matter who it was. Like even if it was like somebody that I didn't think that smoked weed, I would still make a joke to them about it.
My gran went over to Amsterdam and smoked weed. She doesn't smoke weed at all.
Yeah,
but you know,
people do that.
Yeah.
Right. So mum's like telling me this.
Out in my gran.
Obviously, obviously my mum's not like up on what 420 is, right? So she's like she was telling me, she's like, they've got all these rats and that, and she just finished telling me that they're away to Amsterdam, and I was like, right, and I was waiting on her saying something like about like I wonder what they're going to do there, and I was going to make a joke, but obviously because it's like my brother, I didn't want to like. She's like, oh, I bet I know what he's up to, and then mum's like fucking like she would maybe like give him a hard time or something, right? So so she's like, they're away to Amsterdam today, and I was like, all right, and I was just waiting to see like what she was going to say, but she just was like, it was just like they were going to like the fucking Lake District or something. They're just away to Amsterdam, right? I was like, right, cool. And she's like, and they've got all these rats now, and like they came up to the house the other day, and obviously if you smoke like weed in your house, like it smells like weed's like a really noticeable smell. Like my pal's like his next door neighbour, like we all know somebody that smokes weed, and like you can smell it, right? And I'm not saying like weed smokers are stinky. Some of them probably are. But stinky not all cheese. Of them are like stinky weed smokers, stinky skeevy stoners. So like, so mum was, I'm sure that's a word, skeevy stoners. So mum was like, they're away to Amsterdam, tell me about Amsterdam. And then they got all these rats, and then the mum and Kenny were standing there.
That's from.
What?
That skeevy stoners.
Is it like a? Is it like
that's
a?
Jane Silent Bob the movie. And that what's his name? Sean William Scott.
Aye, when he's like, animal, I love animals.
I love them. And he's
that's funny.
You skeevy stoners.
That's what it is. I knew I heard it be something to do with Kev Smith. So she's telling me about this and the rats and that, and then Kenny's over, and they were like, they were up at the house the other day, and like, they've got all the rats, and like, you can just smell that they live in a house full of like animals and that, and I was like, are they seriously dumb? And like, they were just going on about that. It's like, they just like smell like musty, like you could smell it off them. I'm like, like, do you know what I mean? And it's so weird as well, because like, I remember years ago, like, my pal, this guy, Kieran, that I'm pally with, right? You've probably met him. Not like Kieran, Kieran, I don't know how to refer to Kieran so everybody knows.
Oh yeah, I don't want to say his second name in case.
Kieran that's watching it now. Not that Kieran, it's another Kieran.
Oh, Kevin's at work.
So this time, ages ago, Kieran was like, and this is when I lived at mum's, Kieran's like, yo man, like, and we'd bought some weed, and like very would I like buy weed, so he's like, can I get like the last bit of that weed off you, because I had it up at mum's house. I was like, right, no problem. I was like, come up and get it. And I don't know what he was like wanting it for, but he needed this like weed in a hurry. Like some guy's like, I really need this weed. I don't know why, he wasn't like a big stone or anything, but he was like, I really need this weed like now. I'm like, right, okay. So like we went out, and like I went downstairs. He was like, right, I'm coming up your street. So I like got the weed, went outside and that, and then we just like went out, and then I kind of like just shook his hand at the top of the street, and like I gave him the weed, and then he just went away, and then I went back in the house, and I was like, that was fucking like so obvious. Like we didn't even like try and hide. It wasn't even like I jumped over the back wall and like met him somewhere else. Like I just went round the front, right in front of my fucking mum's house, and was like, here's the fucking like the weed and that, and then they were like, what was that? Like they'd obviously seen it, and I was just like, oh, like no, and I was just like, but then they knew, and then Kenny was like, oh, I care about weed, like I've tried it before, and he was like, I didn't like it and all this kind of stuff, but I'm like, so he's obviously knows. My mum maybe is not like a street smart like the way that Kenny would maybe be, or was in his younger day. I was like, how the fuck did they not pick up on that? Like the two of them coming up here, like you can smell weed off them, and they're just like, I saw the rats. That's like their go-to, and they're away to Amsterdam. Fucking mental, eh? But I just don't know what box people live in that are just like...
Yeah, I don't know.
It's really weird.
I don't know what box people are living in when they're fucking so dead against it, you know?
Yeah. I remember a guy on my Facebook actually a while ago, he posted up something about how he was like, everybody was like posting up about like how, about weed and all that kind of stuff, and how it should be legalised, and I just think it's a load of bullshit and that. And I sent him some like, and somebody was just like, somebody kind of commented agreeing with him, and he was like calling everybody skeevy stoners and that kind of stuff. And then I just like, I never even like commented, I just like sent him a link like on the comments, and it was just like about medical marijuana and all this kind of stuff.
Medical marijuana. That's why you shouldn't smoke.
It's because I'm 420 blazed at my head. So I just left that, and it was just about like loads of research into it, and it was like kind of a good article, and he just never got back. He just like never said anything, and like he never acknowledged it. And I was just
this was the guy who was against it.
Yeah, it was so weird.
Nah, people aren't rational when it comes to these things.
I don't know.
Like outside of weed, like being fairly fucking harmless. Even if it was harmless, it's something that people want to do. It's their body. It's fucking. It's a personal rights issue. You know, so.
And there's obviously like your skeevy stoner guys, but I think there's like, I always look at it as there's like almost like two different types of people that smoke it. If you know what I mean. Like I think you've got like your kind of like classical like nades that just sit there and just like. Smoking a fucking joint, man. Do you know what I mean? And like fucking drawing aliens and shit like that, and like do you know that kind of classic alien? It's like the kind of egg, upside down egg with like the eyes, and then there's like a hash leaf behind it and a big fucking joint hanging out his mouth. And like there was a guy I used to go to college with, and he just used to fucking draw these, and it's like,
and that's because as well, because it's illegal, because they've made it into this fucking
like it's
badass
a bad thing.
And I was just like, I remember saying to Ben ages ago about it, because he was worried about like, you know, Rowan coming over here, and if I'd had friends that were like smoking weed and stuff like that, and I'm like, look, weed's not this fucking thing.
It happens a lot around here. Like I come up, you're sitting in beanbags, fucking like just watching like South Park and that.
Yeah, but like it's not this fucking thing that's gonna kill you.
No.
Even if you're smoking it, it's not gonna kill you.
Yeah.
There's not been one recorded death where weed was the fucking result. There's been one or two attempts where people have been like, look, it was because of weed, and there's just it's fucking.
It's always like other things, like
unbacked.
they choked on, like the guy who like felt sick and like choked on his vomit or something like that.
Even then, there was like, well, we can go into all that, but
yeah.
like, there's not one fucking legitimate.
You know overdosed on marijuana.
And if there was one, that would put smoking weed, the death likelihood, at like 0.000. You know,
when you look
it
at
would
smoking
make it the
and alcohol
safest.
and people with liver disease and all this kind of shit and lung cancer.
Yeah.
It's mental, eh?
But having weed as a cause. But anyway, so my whole thing was, if anything, it's just a fucking medicine.
Yeah.
It's less lethal. It's less harmful than aspirin.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, but then what happens is you get all this culture and black culture and like the rappers with their fucking smoke my weed and they write songs about it and stuff like that. And I'm like, just imagine that wasn't weed. Imagine that was aspirin. Because aspirin's more harmful than weed. So imagine they're like, yeah, Papa my aspirin. Like, it'd just be fucking ridiculous.
Lil Wayne sings about this stuff that he drinks. It's called syrup. And it's like a cough syrup that they drink. And it's like, fucking, I don't know what it's called. He calls it, I think it's like promethazine or something.
Right. But I was going to say, I bet you drink too much of that, you could die.
I think that's just like Calpol, like, because like I heard about, like, when I was in high school, about folk just like downing bottles of Calpol, and I was just like, what? Like, I was like, fucking like this last year, I was like, oh, I fucking like had 2 boxes of paracetamol last night. I'm like, the fuck is this? I was like, is this what people do? Like, do people actually do this?
I know.
Really weird.
People find new and inventive ways to try and get fucked up. Like, what's all this? You used to
have you ever seen
aerosol can? Don't do this. I'm fucking warning you now. And I've never done it.
I did it in Tesco's once, accidentally. Like, I had an aerosol, and I was like, I wonder what this smells like. So like, I don't know. Instead of like spraying it in the air, I sprayed it in the cap. And I was like, holy fuck! Like I felt a head rush, and I was like, "That's what it is." And that's like solvent abuse.
Aye, on the cameras, the guy's like, "You're just some guy coming in the Tesco's like fucking, like, some skeevy stoner." But but that's that. Imagine like fucking. So think of something like that's in society, but even then in society, that's fucking seen as a bad thing. So that's not a good example. But like aspirin, where it's a run of the mill. Everyday fucking thing.
If you saw rappers, do you know what I mean? Aye.
If you saw a rapper talking about how he's taking aspirin and how badass he is and he doesn't give a fuck, he'll take like 6 in a row. Like, you just think this has to be a parody. This has to be a joke.
Aye. Like if Weird Al did it.
Well, if Weird Al did it, yeah, you would be like, it makes sense. But imagine you seen like fucking Tupac or something, or Biggie, you know, talking. See, I'm down with rappers. Rapping about
I get no motherfucking headaches in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
But that's it, you would find it completely ridiculous.
There was
for me, it's like that's what culture. That's what we need to be able to see weed and rappers glorifying the smoking of weed is like the same thing. It's a fucking medicine that just gives you a bit of a buzz. That's all it is.
I always think like there was a thing just how you're saying about like how paracetamol and that like was ridiculous. Do you ever watch Peep Show?
I'm aware of it. I've not seen too much.
Well,
of
there's
it.
like a character in Peep Show, Super Hands, and his thing is like he's like fucking like he loves like cocaine and all this kind of stuff and crack and smacking. Like he just loves drugs. But there's an episode in it where he goes. I think they're in a band, right? Him and Jay's, they're kind of one of the main characters, and they somehow get signed to like a Kieran. I just read Kieran. A Christian rock group, so this means like they have to go straight edge. So he's like, how do I get my fix in that? And he starts like doing head rushes, and that's how he gets his fix. And he just like kind of sits down, like kind of crouches down and puts his head down, and then jumps up and goes like that. And he gets a head rush. He's like, whoa, head rush. But it's like a comedy thing. It's not serious. Right. You're like, who the fuck is he?
Yeah.
But like I was like, it's just them trying to, I don't know, like another fix or
another
whatever.
way of getting fucked.
It's crazy.
And that's why it's so dumb to make things illegal.
Yeah.
Because making things like, okay, substance abuse, you're not allowed to take this substance. People just do that, like getting a head rush. And like I know that's a comedy, but people used to do this when I was in primary school. This was like a thing. I don't know if anyone will fucking remember this. Right. I don't know if it was just at my school. I don't know where it came from because I've never really heard about it since then. But in primary school, and this is not taking any substances, right? This was people, and I can't really remember the way they used to do it, but they'd get you to stand up against the wall.
Right.
And I don't know if you had your hands behind your back or whatever, but someone else would put their hands on your chest. And you had to take a big breath or something. I think it was like you took a really deep breath, and then they went really hard and pushed on your chest. And if you did it right, it could like knock you out.
What the fuck? That's mental, hey?
So people were getting like fucking like falling over and then getting up, and then like when you get up, you've got this like
you're
head
dizzy
buzz.
and shit.
And that's why they were doing it.
That's weird, eh?
And so that's like, provided like as long as that wasn't just a big joke on me and everyone, like it's not an actual thing. That's what people will resort to if they want to get fucked up, and everything's like, you know, you're not allowed to touch anything, you're not allowed to buy anything. People will find ways of getting fucked up if that's what they want to do. So making it illegal, all it does is it gives us this even badder reputation.
Badass thing. Yeah. But I think there's like stoner people that are like, I don't know, that like are creative and they're just like they look at it in a different way and they use it like a lot more sensibly. Do you know what I mean? Like they can kind of hold down like a job. Like I don't like the example that I kind of would always think about would be like Kevin Smith. He smokes like weed, but he does this thing where if he's smoking it, he has to be doing something creative. Do you know what I mean? So he's not just like, because he's like, I could just sit around and fucking watch movies and just smoke pot all day. But he's like, if I'm doing it, I want to do something creative. And I don't know.
Do you know what it is? I think that the whole creative thing comes from. I think it's because you're most creative or you're most able to get your ideas down on paper when you don't give a fuck about what other people think. Yeah, that's exactly what
it is. Like you lose your inhibitions about it. Aye.
You just you're not self. So when you smoke weed, you get into that sort of relaxed state where you just you're free to not, you know, there's no judgment or anything like that from anyone else. It doesn't matter. Like people can say whatever they want.
What's like
you just legitimately don't care.
See, like whenever you've like smoked it, what is one time that you've totally like hit the giggles and found something so fucking funny?
The first time I ever smoked weed was
I feel like they're coming up in a weird order.
Yeah, I think they are. But anyway, no, the first time I ever smoked weed.
And like you've hit the giggles and you've just like, what happened to kind of like trigger it, and like how? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I don't remember too much from it because it was years ago. But what happened? This man has the voice of Satan. We're getting sent links as well. So 1 second, because I'll lose my train of thought here. Mm-hmm. So the first time I ever got high, it wasn't just smoking a joint though. It was like through a bong. So I don't know if that made it easier for me to whatever. So I was at a party, a bunch of my friends, and I don't even know what happened. Like someone. So I had a few friends there, right? had a friend called Alad.
Right.
And a friend called Ewan. And I don't know the way it started, but someone called someone a name that sounded like their name that wasn't their name, or something like that. And so, completely immature. So people are like, giving each other nicknames that rhyme with
their name.
So
you'd be like Sam the Bam or something like that.
No, I wouldn't even be Sam. So like I would be Bam or whatever, right? And so people were doing this, and then I was staring at Alad, and I'm high, and I'm trying to fucking think what rhymes with Alad. And then it just came to me. I was like, salad. And then Sam giggled, like, fuck at that. And then I was looking at you, and I put it together, and it was like all came at once. And I was like, oh my God. And I went, chewing, ham, salad. And then that was me. I was like fucking chewing ham, salad. I was on the floor for ages, just laughing. Could not stop laughing at that.
That's funny.
I found it so funny, and no one else found it funny, but it didn't matter.
There was a time I was a wee while ago. I was like over at my buddy's house, and we were having a wee smoke, and I don't know what fucking happened, but like, know how we were just having a conversation, like, know how folks say things like, oh, it swings and roundabouts or something like that, or like he's like I don't know, calling a spade, like some weird saying. Like I was just like ups and downs and ups, and we were fucking poorless. And then we just that we were just going ages going, and we were getting like his girlfriend wasn't smoking, and we were just like say it, and she was like ups and downs and ups, right? And then we added on to ups and downs and up. So the full saying that we came out with was ups and downs and ups. You say what, and then I say what. We were like I was killing myself, and I was just like, imagine like one of these like Facebook things that you see up, and somebody posts like a motivational quote, and it's like a fucking sunset over like a beach with like the tide coming in, and it just says ups and downs and ups. You say what, and then I say what. And I was like, it fucking ended, man. It's so funny.
What was the one Chris said on the first week?
It was, what's going about with all that?
Because that was it. And it was just the timing of that was perfect.
It's just one of them sentences.
He looked so concerned, and he's like, because he was getting kicked out. His mum was kicking him out, and he was so concerned. And he was like, what's going about with all that? And then
it's everywhere.
So when he first said it, we didn't even notice that he really said that. But then we were watching it back, like, what's going about with all that? I think I clicked on
it because when he says it, I kind of turned away. Like, I remember it, and then it was, I don't know when it went, but later on we were sitting watching it back.
And we were trying to break that sentence apart. What's going about with all that?
So weird, eh?
And Jesus, we just end up in a fit of giggles.
I know, I was fucking like lying on the floor. I love when that happens. It's so funny. You can't stop yourself.
Aye.
I know. There was that time that over here, and I still find it so funny. It was a time, like, was it salmon or chicken or something you had for dinner? And one of the cats, like, so Sam's got this plate of chicken or whatever it was, and one of the cats fucking took the chicken off the plate, and he's just like fucking running after the cat. It's so funny. I can never tell it for laughing, but he's just like running after the cat. She's like, guys, after the cats. And I'm like, why is he calling them guys?
But you know what
it
is?
So funny.
It's because they've done it before, and I'm not used to it.
It's like, you're like, come on, guys.
Come on, fucking hell, guys. Really?
That's hilarious. I love shit like that. That cracks me up every time, man. There was another time with Ross as well, and we're sitting, and I think we were playing Grand Theft Auto, and he was like, I was looking at a map. No, was I driving the motorbike? I was driving him on Grand Theft Auto, like I wasn't driving fucking like a real motorbike. So I'm driving this motorbike, and he's looking for something on the map, right? And he says, something about like, "Aye man, that's, you're on the map" or something like that. He said something about like referring to me in the map, and I thought that he was like that high that he didn't mean to say map, but he said map, and he meant to say bike, right? And I was like, and I was fucking killing myself laughing. I was like, you said map. I was like, I know. I was like, you said map though. You meant to say bike. He's like, no, I meant to say map. And this was so confusing. And then it turned I was fucking wrong. And it was the most confusing thing. Do you know what I mean? To try and, like, you're like, what? Like, you fucking, like, no, you said map. And I was like, aye, I know I said map, but you thought I said map meaning to say bike, but I really did say map meaning to say bike, and I was like, was the one that was wrong.
That conversation on weed would have been hysterical.
It was so funny, man. It went on for so long, because, like, you're sitting there and you're like, what the fuck's happening? I remember this one time, actually, we smoked this weed, and like, so we smoked it, right? And then we went back through his living room, and we're just, like, sitting playing, like, the fucking PlayStation, like, so we're sitting there, like, I was sitting with the controller, and we'd smoked it in the kitchen, right? And then went and sat down. So I'm, like, sitting there with the controller, and we'd been talking in the kitchen when we were smoking it. I was like, I feel fine, man. That stuff was, like, really nice. Like, it was, like, quite smooth and that, eh? So it was really good. And we're sitting there fucking, like, playing I think I was playing the PlayStation. And then, and it was the weirdest, like, it was one of them really weird highs. And we're just sitting there, and I was like, dude, this is weird. Like, there was, like, the longest time we didn't say anything. I was like, are you feeling alright? He's like, nah, man. And I was like, do you feel like your head stops there? And he's like, aye, man. And I'm sitting, I was like, dude, I'm, like, falling over. And I was slowly going like that. I was like, oh, man, like, I don't know what to do. Like, it's one of the moments and you're like, oh shit, like, what happens now? And we're sitting there, like, and it just got weirder and weirder. You're like, oh man, like, this isn't right. I was like, I didn't like this. I was like, I think I'd need to, like, sit on the floor or something. It's so fucking strange.
I get fucking, it's weird sometimes though, like, I'll be smoking weed and then it hits me and it's like fucking, it's so all of a sudden. And
that's what that was like. We went,
we had Willie on the podcast. And after we did the podcast, I think you went home. And me and him got high and fucking, like...
Willie Liddell?
Yeah, I just remember, I just remember, like, making a cup of tea. And then, like, it just hit me just when the kettle was boiling. And it took from turning the kettle on till the kettle being boiled. In that space of time, I went from being fine to just being, like, hanging on to the bunker, like, oh fuck,
there, man.
Oh fuck,
I've
smoked too much. And I remember saying to him, I was like, dude, the kettle's just boiled, all I had to do was pour it. And I'm like, dude, do you want to make the tea? I think I need to lie down.
He just came over for, like, a drink and he's like, this fucking guy, I need to lie down.
I went lie down, that's me, like, I'm just fucking, once I'm lying down, I'm alright. I just feel like I can't skip.
Sometimes I think that's the worst thing, that you can't get back up.
Stephen Dure keeps sending us stuff. I just want to check it out. See
sure.
Make sure it's not a virus.
There was a time...
it's taking me to livejasmine.com. Wait a minute.
That's a bad link, man.
Here we go. It's called This Man Has the Voice of Satan.
Who is it? Are we going to get, like, copyrighted?
Don't think so.
How did you find it, Stephen? Is it being, like, slowed down? Oh, pardon. That's fucked up, man. It's like they've recorded it on, like, a tape, and then the tape's been dropped in, like, a bath or something, eh?
That's a weird one. If you want to Google that, it's called This Man Has the Voice of Satan. Do you ever see that one with the drummer?
Aye.
With the fucking, and he's just gone mental. And it's so brilliant because the rest of the band is just...
Yeah.
I don't know where you type in to find that if you haven't seen it, was it?
It's the drummer that's in the wrong band. It's quite easy to find on YouTube.
Crazy Drummer or something like that.
Aye.
Probably find it. Sent me another one there. This is all about psychics. We all know psychics. Intensity.net is the name of the site. Oh, you can see the future, this is called.
It's French, Stephen.
It's got subtitles. Stephen
Jouard.
Okay. So you're clairvoyant. You can see the future. Yes, I can see the future. And the guy punched him. As you can see, it doesn't take much to expose a liar.
That's funny.
I'm not in favour of violence, but that's pretty fucking funny.
I was thinking tonight about doing some undercover investigative journalism and going to like one of these spiritualist churches and seeing what it was all about, and going into it as like a skeptic.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. You didn't need to join me, like I would just go and do it.
How many you want to though?
Aye, it might be quite cool.
What? So what? What's your plans?
I don't know, like I don't believe in it, right? I do totally believe in like all that, like how Darren Brown can like total mimic it and all that kind of stuff. Like I just think it's like tricks, and like even if these people aren't aware that they're able to like read people that well, do you know what I mean? That they can do it, and maybe they mistake it for some kind of ability. So I don't believe it at all, but I just want to see what it's like. Do you know what I mean? And can I be there and have somebody try and like do a reading on me and just see how they do it? I've never. Do you know what I mean? I think it'd be interesting to see. Like I'm not being like
the only danger is though if you're looking out for what it is they're doing, and then they pick up on something.
Link, please.
All right. If they how do we get the link?
For what? Just off the Facebook. If they pick up on it, they'll like Sam's app, they'll smell it at.
No. What I mean is if they sorry folks, one second, I'm just sending the link here. Yeah, if they happen to pick up on something about you, or maybe pick up isn't even the right way of putting it, but like if they happen to guess something about you, something about your life, and you missed it, you just weren't able to dissect it. That's dangerous. Then if you're going in as like being
would be to trick them almost, right? So like say like normally how I would dress, like when I'm coming over here or like whatever, like I would dress different. Like so maybe I would go in, and when I was going I would shave, right? So that's like I don't know, like maybe like the beard would give something away about me, like about what I'm into or something like that, or like if I usually wear like a band t-shirt or something, like maybe I wouldn't wear a band t-shirt, maybe I would wear like a football t-shirt or something like that. Like I would never fucking wear a football t-shirt. Maybe I'd dress different. Do you know what I mean? To kind of throw them off. And what I was thinking
the thing is because the thing is they're not genuinely picking up anything.
No, but the thing is like I say the Darren Brown guy, he was like, I can pick up on this because I can read different signals off of people, right? And I think that's maybe sometimes what they do, how they predict certain things. Do you know what I mean? Like they pick up on
if you went in dressed like an Ed,
constantly doing. Aye.
They would undoubtedly have some.
So you like Buckfast? Aye. How did you know? Do you know what I mean?
So you like a wine? You like you're into wine, aren't you?
A bit of a connoisseur, maybe.
I like a wine, Buckfast. This guy's amazing.
He's got like big bucket stains, like the big.
But so what I mean though is the danger of that would be if you went and dressed like an Ed. And then, you're a wee bit out the camera there.
It's because I keep moving, sorry. I need a pee, but I'm trying to hold off.
Yeah, but if you... God sees everything, Paul Stenger says. But if they end up saying something about...
Is a spiritualist church to do with God, is it?
Yeah,
is it just to
basically
do with,
it's a lot of them will say that they don't follow the religion necessarily, or that they think all religions are the same. So it's like they believe in God, but they don't. They're really flimsy on doctrine. So basically, if there's something in the Bible that says slavery's okay, well, that's all right because that's nothing to do with them. They don't believe in the Bible. They believe in God.
Yeah.
But then you ask them about Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ, he was a very spiritual person. So that they'll believe. It's basically a way of being able to pick and choose what you want to believe in. I think
just picking at the bits you like.
Yeah.
I think it would be good to kind of go and see.
If you're religious, and I feel bad because this was Chris Fleming's talk. This is what he wanted to talk about religion, and we're talking about it now. He's not here.
He's not here.
Anyway,
I don't know if I would. Anyway,
so just if you're a religious person, and you identify as a Christian, you're kind of tied to the book. Then, you know what I mean? Because it's this easy argument. Well, if there's a fucking... If one bit is not true, then all of it might as well be bullshit. You know? It's either... It all has to be true, it all has to be gospel, or,
you can't
or
just
it's all
pick and choose.
Because how do you differentiate?
Yeah.
But if you're a spiritualist,
yeah,
what you can kind of do is think of yourself as a Christian.
Right.
But if anyone comes up and says something like, well, Jesus said this, what do you think about that?
Uh-huh.
You can just go, not my problem.
Aye.
You know, because I'm just spiritualist. I don't believe in the Bible. But they believe in Jesus. They believe Jesus was a real person. You know what I mean?
It's a funny one, eh?
They believe
I'm not even going to... I wouldn't even want to go and see it like for the whole like religion side. I just want to see how these... I don't know. Like how they think they can tell the future and what they would say to me.
That's what I mean, though. I'd worry. Because
Why?
I'd worry because, like...
What, for me?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I
If
think...
I came back and I was like a convert and I was just like trying to preach on your fucking...
Well, if it sounds bad to say it, right? But like...
Yeah, say it.
If I went in there and they caught me with something off guard...
Yeah.
That I
You're
was
like, fuck you!
and
I don't want it!
That I was like, how do they fucking know that?
Like, what do you mean? Like, give me an example.
Like, if they said something about me, like, if I went and talked to a spiritual person, they said, like, you know...
What if they were like, you're a legend at heart?
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, how did how did they know that? So I'd need to try and work out how they
Should we
knew
explain that to the people? In
No,
case
no,
they're like,
just
how
leave
does
it,
Paul
leave
know
it
that?
there.
Why is that like significant?
I've got legend tattooed on
That's
my...
quite clever, eh?
That was quite clever, yeah.
Thanks.
So if they said that...
Doesn't happen a lot.
So if they said that, I'd be like... But I'd be able to go, yeah, there's a logical, rational explanation for that. I don't know if you would hear something similar and go, I can't explain that. There might be something to this.
I think I'm like more gullible than you.
Only because, and I'm only saying that, this one sounds bad.
I don't mind.
Only because it happened to me
Right.
with the whole fucking placebo effect thing that I'm sure I've spoke about before on podcasts, where I got cured of having toothache. And I genuinely bought into it.
Uh-huh.
And so because I've had that experience, and maybe you've had a similar experience as well, but
I don't think I have.
But so that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'd be better in that circumstance than you.
There was one thing that was kind of, it was a weird thing, right? And but again, I think it was like a placebo effect, right?
Because you're quite partially believing in ghosts as well, aren't you?
This is the thing. I am,
so that's what I mean. I'm not like being bad, but I'm
like
just
to
saying if someone...
But then, right, so last year, right, didn't have a very good year, like, and I had a lot of like tough times, that kind of stuff was going on. And then there was a woman that I used to work with that was just like, I don't know, she kind of mentioned it in passing one day that she used to read like jewellery or something like that, and I got her to tell me about it, and she was telling me all these different stories and stuff like that. And I was just kind of thinking, like, I don't know why she would need to lie about that. It's not like she's trying to like get money off these people, or like she doesn't even really, like, she's not trying to make herself sound good to me or anything. Like, not like a gypsy woman would be like, I can see that your stars and that kind of stuff, and be like, right, this woman's trying to like make a quick coin off of me.
So you're looking for a motive and you can't find it.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like why would she be telling me this? Like, what's she gaining from this, right? So and I was just like, but like in the same kind of curiosity kind of way, I was like, well, like, do me like a reading, right? Because almost in a way of like to prove yourself, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Right? Well, it doesn't work like that, Paul.
I know it doesn't, right? But the thing was that like whenever like she told me things as well that. And again, it's a weird thing. Like, she'd like almost like predicted things, but she'd made like quite certain predictions. Right, I'm trying to think of one of the predictions that she made. She'd made some prediction like our brother was going for like an exam as like an electrician or something like that, right? And he had to go into this room, and there was like a kind of like a circuit board or something, and he had to basically wire it up, right? He was like sitting at a wee desk. It's not like well, he's just sitting at like a desk, and it's like in exam conditions. He's sitting at a desk, and there's like an examiner there, and she says like when you go to sit at the desk, she says you're worried about what examiner you get, but you get like a man with glasses, and you really like him, right? And then when you're sitting at the desk, you can't get your legs under the table, right? And so he was like, right. So he goes, and then sure enough, he gets an examiner with glasses, and he's like a really nice, bubbly fella and all this kind of stuff. And then when he goes to sit at the desk, they're all in wee booths, but it's like along a big bench. So there's all these booths sectioned off on the bench, and he goes to sit at the booth that he was led to, and there's like a table leg under it, so he can't get his legs right under the table. And I was like, that's a kind of a weird thing. Like, if she did do that, like, she's having, like, she'd kind of predict this, like, beforehand. Like, I don't know how far beforehand, but she'd predicted it. So
what age is she?
I think she's 40 or something like that.
40.
What, you're just
Fucking hell.
Right, so
She's 40.
She's around that age, right?
How long has she been doing it?
I don't know if she's 40. Maybe she's like late 30s. Like I say, like she's a nurse, and she just used to do it for like other nurses that she worked with and like pals and stuff.
Would you know how long?
Like since she was younger, maybe say about maybe 20 years or something like that, right?
20 years. Okay, I'm just because I'm
right.
just trying to think in my head.
I would try and pick holes in it as well.
Well,
how many
I'm just trying to think of
made, and how many have been right and how many have been wrong.
If she's been doing 20 years,
but and she would obviously never tell me any wrong ones. I rolled up my sleeves there. That wasn't a good look. So and there was a couple other ones she told me as well. And there was one that she'd there was something to do with like she told some guy that he was going to have a baby, and it was going to have this red thick curly hair, and the guy was like, and she knew this guy, like she'd met him later in his life, and it wasn't like a partner, it was just like some friend or whatever, but he was like, I can't have kids, like he had some accident or something like years before, and it kinda deemed him infertile, so he was like, I can't. But then sure enough, she met him years later, and he did have this kid with like all this thick bushy hair, and like I don't know really what to make of it. So she said to me, she did actually one from a pal, right? And she told her stuff, but I think that stuff could have been guessed. Do you know what I mean? Because it's things that like I'd talked to this lady about, and some of it was quite easy to see. It was about how this person had quite a hard life and things like that, and things that you could maybe guess had happened to this person, like maybe like the age she was, like the area she was from, and all that kind of stuff, and like the kind of what it's like around here. Like there was a wee bit like domestic abuse and all that kind of stuff. So that's like I'm not mentioning names or whatever, but she'd kind of guessed that, and I was like, well, I kind of could have gathered that myself from speaking to her. Even she didn't tell me that, I could have maybe guessed that. What she told me wasn't stuff that in my past, but it was stuff that was in my future, like for years down the line. And it kind of like, I don't know if I believed it, but I kind of just felt like it's funny to say that I was just like, and I don't know if she was maybe like, cause like I was friendly with her, like she was maybe like looking out for me in a way or whatever, but like it kind of, it what, like she told me things that would happen to me, right? And I was just like, it kind of just was like, everything's going to be alright. Do you know what I mean? Like everything will kind of work itself out, and that's what I took from it. And I was just like, "There's no point in worrying about all this stuff to know the things that I was worrying about, the things that I was like getting like worked up about." But I was just like, everything will be all right, and it kind of put my mind at ease.
They never tell you anything bad.
No.
Anyway. What time did we start this?
9 o'clock.
9. All right.
But it was funny, but like she never. But it's funny as well because like sometimes like, but it's silly as well. This is the other silly thing. Like she told me stuff. Right, and it was written down, but I won't tell people it. So that's the weird thing as well. Like I won't tell people like things that she said. Right, she did tell me like some specific things, which was kind of weird. That I won't tell people because I would almost like worry that I would jinx it in a sense, which that's strange as well because I've always been like, nah, like these people that are like these people, like, I've got somebody coming through. Is it P? Is it P? Is it Peter? Paul? Do you know what I mean? Do you know them people? Like, I would never buy it. But then now I'm like, nobody can know what it was, what she said to me.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was things that like that she would say, and then I would like, I almost try and make it fit. I'm like, I can see how that lines up. But then there's been two things. That I could see how could line up with what she told me, but then these two things didn't pan out, and I'm just looking for things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she told me like a name, and every time I fucking see this name, like see if I'm like at Tesco's or something, and somebody's like wearing a badge with this name on it, I'm like, oh shit. And I try and fit it around the situation, and I'm like, that's ridiculous because that's my brain trying to like, she's told me one thing and I'm just trying to bend what she said into this other thing.
Well, it's because it's another thing as well. Like if you get a new pair of shoes, you know that you've never seen them before, but then you buy them, suddenly you start seeing everybody wearing these fucking pairs. Like, you know, not everyone, but you'll see if someone's wearing those shoes, your brain will go to it.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, whoa, how fucking weird is that?
Me.
Same as that, it happened when my mum bought a car years ago. And I remember feeling like, fucking, I'm seeing this car everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's only because You know,
like I've got this thing about the number 37, right? And I feel like I see that all the time. But like it's like 22, 23 now. And I could just be like, all right, look at that, and I'd just like, it's fucking 22, 23. But then see if I looked at that clock and it was like 22, 37, I'd think to myself, oh, aye. Like,
yeah.
not, like...
And see,
I would just...
you forget how many times
yeah.
you've looked at that clock.
Yeah.
You know, because if
but
I said to you...
If that time I look at it, it's 37, that's like significant.
Yeah, if I said to you, like, tomorrow, if we hadn't had this conversation, but if I said to you tomorrow, like, you know, see when you were around at my house, how many times did you look at that clock?
Yeah, I know.
You'd be like, once or twice.
Uh-huh.
But it could easily have been about 100.
I know, it could have been, like that I wouldn't register it.
Yeah,
but there was one tonight, and some of them seem almost like more specific than other ones.
Well, just that 40 thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I noticed this the past, like, you know, well, a few weeks back, you know,
Uh-huh.
I noticed that whenever you say 40, you say 40.
I say it weird.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And so just hearing it the first time that you said 40, it just, you know, pings in my brain then. Like, and then the next time you say it, I'm like, oh, you said 40 again. Right?
Uh-huh.
Then the next time you say it, I'm more aware of it.
Yeah.
Rather, so it won't just pass. And then, of course,
But then any time now I say it, like you and Hazel picking up on it.
yeah, yeah.
Aye,
So
it
now
is.
it's
I suppose
becoming
that's
like
like
just this
that's
thing.
like my 37.
Yeah.
But like the day I was speaking to somebody and we were just having a conversation about something, and I was like, do you know, I was listening to a podcast and it was along the exact lines of what you're talking about, and I was like, I really think you would like get a lot from listening to this podcast, so I'm going to show you it, right? So I'll get it like on your phone and that you can listen to it, and I like you really get a lot from this. I think it's like a lot relevant to what you're talking about. And I went on, downloaded the podcast, and the number of reviews was 37 reviews, and then I was like, that was a big one. Do you know what I mean? But then if I look later, like I look at that clock in like fucking like 17 minutes or 12 minutes or whatever it is, I'm like, fuck, it's 22:37. Do you know what I mean? It's silly, eh?
Well, it just is though. It's the way our brains work. It's what I'd say about psychics though.
Yeah.
I just thought of that when you were saying all that stuff. Like, how many psychics are there in the world?
I know.
Because I like to try and think about things in terms of like, you know, because we sort of, there's no evidence for anything, so we're sort of working off a probability, right? So we're like, yeah, you can't. It's not how it works. You know, that's what you always get told. That's not how it works. So you're like, what was the chances that she knew, whatever, you know? So you're working off of this probability mindset. So, but what I like to think is, how many psychics are there in the world?
I know.
Or proclaimed psychics, right? You know, thousands. Got to be thousands. At least. Are they all right? No. We know that not all of them are right. We know that there are frauds out there.
I frauded a guy once with a wee thing, and I was thinking about it today. Right. I'll let you finish your point.
Well, just so we know it's a thing that people do that they lie about.
Yeah.
We know that is a thing. People definitely do this as a profession where they're either lying or they're deluded. They're not psychic. We know that happens. So would it not be a bit of a coincidence if it was a real thing that you really could do as a job that you were real at? When you've got so many people in the world
that are wanting to believe it,
that are doing that as a job anyway, but it happens to be this.
The thing about is that like people that go to these people are wanting to believe it, like they're looking for something. Do you know what I mean?
Let's say,
and like me, they will bend their mind to fit what that person says.
Let's say you got magic powers, right?
Right. What magic powers have got?
Let's say there was a god and he said you can make things disappear.
Right. Okay.
Right, and you can genuinely take that phone and just make it disappear.
Right.
And you've genuinely got that power. How much of a cunt would that be, knowing that there is a thing called magicians who make things disappear and everyone widely knows it to be fake?
But you're the one guy that can do it for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be annoying.
It would be annoying, but it would also be like, what a coincidence.
Yeah.
You know, we happen to live in a world where I can make things disappear, but it happens to be the same world where people lie about making things disappear.
Aye, that is a weird thing. I never thought of that.
So the fact that, like, imagine you were a psychic then who had genuine powers. You would be like, damn, I happen to have genuine psychic powers in a world where there's thousands of people running around claiming to have the exact thing that I have. You know? So then it's just like, if it was a genuine thing, a genuine natural occurrence that things happen, like, you wouldn't get people running around claiming that they had it. It's obviously, it's just, so what's the likelihood that someone genuinely has psychic powers, and what's the likelihood that they're just like
I know.
all those other people?
I do. I completely agree with you. I think it is just people want to believe it. But my wee thing was I was thinking about today, and it was actually something I'd done a while ago. But then I really started to think about it today, and it was just like a wee I don't know what you'd call it, but like basically, I was in Edinburgh one time with a friend of mine, and we're going down an escalator down into like a shopping centre, right? And it was quite busy, right? It wasn't like mobbed, it wasn't like fucking like everybody's bustling, but it was like busy enough. So we were going down the escalator, and on the way up the escalator, like you're in Edinburgh, it's like a busy city, as a guy like, and he's going for his work lunch break, right? And when I worked in Booker, like I always wore a name badge, and sometimes like if I'm like if I met somebody and like I was introduced to somebody, they call me Paul, I'd like that's fine, like they know my name's Paul. But like if I'm in Booker and it's somebody that I've not been introduced to, I'm just like serving them just like any day, and he calls me by my name. Like there's a bit for my second, I'm like that was weird, but then I'm like, oh, it's because I've got my fucking name badge on. Like he's just seen it. So we're going down the escalator and this guy's going up the escalator, right? And he's got his name badge on, and I looked at it and it was like Callum or something. Right, so we went down the escalator, then walked a wee bit, and he's like not at the top of the escalator, but I turned around and I was like, Callum! How, Callum? And he like turned around and I waved, and for a split second he waved back, and he was like, he knows me. But then, like for a split, like he doesn't know because there's that many people. He has not clicked on that I'm wearing a name badge. Just like somebody shouting my name and talking to me. So he's like tricked for a second.
Aye.
But I was wondering, like, if you did that, like, and just like in a kind of, I don't know, like, could you pull off and be like there was an older guy I seen today at the train station that had a name badge on, and I was just like, and his name was David, and I was just like, if I just was like, David, how you doing? Like, I was like, I met you, like, he's an older guy, I was like, I met you at that, I think I was at like a 40th with you like a while ago. I bumped into you. Do you know what I mean? Fuck it. I genuinely didn't even mean that. Like I was thinking of 40th. I actually was thinking about saying to him 40th when I was thinking about saying this guy. But like, I was like, for a moment he would be like, that he'd be like, sure I know him, because he wouldn't like put together that it's weird. Do you know what I mean? Like to just trick somebody that you're that kind of come across that confident and you know something about them.
And there's that thing as well, like because if you're paid money to go see a psychic,
yeah,
you don't want to believe like that you're just wasting your money. So you want to, well, I'm putting this into something,
aye.
You know. So you almost convince, even if you're going in as I don't really know, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit sceptical of these things.
See, the spiritualist ones are free if you go to the spiritualist shop. I don't know what process you need to go through to get a reading or whatever, but I think you just kind of go and mill about.
Well,
for what I understand.
What happens is all these Darren Brown shows and stuff, you watch them, you get a lot of people that had really shit, you know, readings.
Uh-huh.
And there'll be maybe one thing that was kind of like could have, and then you ask them afterwards, or you ask them at the time, like how did it go, and they're like, yeah, no, it went really well, like yeah, like. But
when during it and he's getting like things wrong, he's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. But then if it's one detail that they get right, he's like, yeah, and they remember the good one.
If you ask them directly after it,
yeah,
what you tend to find is if you ask them then, like a week later, it's a different response. So if you ask them just after it, they'll always be really positive and really kind of almost like, you know, they're buzzing a little bit from it. Like,
yeah,
like, yeah, no, it was really good. I mean, you know, a few things wrong here and there, but he got quite a few things right. And then you ask them a week later and they go, yeah, no, looking back on it, he didn't really say anything, and he didn't get anything right. And
yeah,
so people have a weird, just different mindset. Just because they're in a different, it's like what you're saying, the guy in the escalator, he's for that moment, he's panicked.
Yeah.
And so he has a completely different, he's not able to really think rationally.
Yeah.
And it's that same sort of thing.
It's quite funny to do that as well, because the action that you get is like, it's like one of, like, being in a, like, just where it was, like, it's a public setting and you just shout David, and he's like, I'm David, and you're talking, like, you're looking at him and you're like, David, how you doing?
Yeah. Do you know what I find as well? Because I've been seeing a few psychics and stuff like that, not necessarily out of me thinking I want to go see a psychic, just it's happened. Like I've, you know, people in my family and Chris Fleming's mum, is her profession's a psychic as well. Right. Psychic Denise, if anyone wants psychic lessons, psychic
lessons.
You know what I mean. So why did I say lessons there?
Don't know.
Anyway, if you want to go see a psychic Denise, And so we went to Chris's house, and he sat me down, and she told us these things about, like, me and Hazel, we're going to have twins, and we're going to move to New Zealand. And it's these, they're not like, they're not subtle things, they're big things.
Yeah.
And of course we haven't had twins. But then you can kind of back out of that and say, oh, well, yeah, we didn't say the first.
Yeah, you've not had twins yet.
Yeah, you've not had twins yet. It could always happen. We haven't moved. What's that? Well, she did see the first ones.
Oh, well. Don't go and see Psychic Denise then.
So the other thing was the New Zealand. Yeah. And it's like, well, we've not moved to New Zealand. But we haven't yet.
Yeah.
Could come true. Could, keeping our fingers crossed. But what I was going to say, though, is there's a thing that exists that if it was genuine and it was the process of going to see a psychic was allowed to be this genuine thing.
Yeah.
This thing wouldn't exist. And what it is when you sit down with a psychic, it's almost like this weird social thing kicks in where it's like
you want to please them. You want to be like, oh, you're right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to compare it to something. I'm thinking it's like when you answer the phone to someone important, it's not the fucking you have to put on your phone voice.
Yeah.
And you have to be polite and you have to talk a certain way. And that's what it's like. You sit down and then they'll ask you questions. And even when like when they're saying, and do you feel like this? Even if you don't feel like that, it's almost like you feel bad for them because you know what they're trying to do.
Yeah. And
so you just end up agreeing, going, yeah, I kind of feel like that sometimes. Even though you don't.
Yeah.
You're put in a position where you kind of have to just not really be yourself because it's just, you feel awkward. There's a social fucking awkwardness. And
I wonder if we
what it is as well? It's because you're not just meeting them and passing it. Someone that you don't know. That if it was just out of the pub, you could be yourself and be like, I don't know this guy, whoever. But you know that you're going to sit next to this person for the next half an hour or an hour.
Yeah.
So
you want to make it comfortable.
Yeah. So if you right from the get go, no, I don't feel like that. You just have this feeling where the next hours, it's going to be awkward.
But whereas if you're like, I don't really think so.
Yeah, you start.
That's like there's doubt in there.
Yeah, and you start kind of doing their job for them, where you try and make it fit. You'll try and then, well, maybe you could be meaning like this, and you'll actually do the work of trying to take their obscure shit and make it fit to you. Yeah. But just because you feel so awkward. Maybe other people aren't like that. Maybe people are able just to go in and be like, that's bullshit. And then sit for an hour with someone who you've just told.
I don't know what it would be like. I would like to think that it'd be like that, but then at the same time, I don't know if I'd want to be a dick. I don't know. I really don't know.
Too polite.
I don't know. Would it be valuable if I went to see one? We could talk about it, I suppose.
You just don't spend any money on that shit.
No, I think you get it for free if you go to the Spiritualist Church.
You go to the Spiritualist Church.
I'm looking for some answers.
with your football top. Your buck
and my trackies and that.
Looking for some answers.
I need some answers.
Where's my favourite?
She's turned the winds against us.
She's turned the winds against us.
Aye, man. That's funny. Who's Root Tootling?
Stephen's saying, Psychic Denise once said to him, do you want some hot dogs? And he said, you should know that. It's kind of like that video there, the guy got.
Yeah.
It's true though, and it's like, it is, it is like you're making fun, it is like a bit of a shame, but the thing is, that's the world we live in, you don't have these magic powers, you're telling everyone that you do. I don't believe you, and just out of politeness, I'm pandering to you. I'm trying to, what I mean? It shouldn't be like that.
It is funny.
People have to be able to stand up, and maybe I'm part of the problem by being too polite about it.
What would you think though if somebody just made like an out and out prediction that you were like, how the fuck did they know that? Like, what if you didn't even go to like see if you went into Alba, you're like, maybe people know me and this person knows of me. Like, what if you went like somewhere fucking obscure? Like, what if you're like, right, I'm going to go to Perth and go to like a spiritualist in Perth that doesn't know anything about me. Like, just like use a fake name or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And then you went in and then they just made some fucking like dead on prediction. You're like, how the fuck did they know that? Like,
there's the thing I think is Lawrence Krauss talks about it, like the myth of big numbers. Like how we think that these things, like, how the fuck did they know that? And we sort of project like, like the chances of them knowing that
are
so
fucking so slim.
astronomical, you know. But that's just a flaw in our brains. Like, someone could easily say something dead on about me and for it to be true. But that's why you have to kind of wonder, like, how many people have they spoke to that day? Could I be the one that won the lottery that day and they got it right? And from their point of view, it's they've had 127 misses, but then that one that hit, that's the only one that matters. From my point of view, I went in and right away she knew everything. So from my point of view, it's like, oh, she's fucking genuine, you know, and I'm sold. And then for the rest of my life, it doesn't matter how many bad you'll
always remember the good reading.
I'll always remember that one, and I'll always know there's something out there. I can't quite explain it, but there's something out there. And that's just the way our fucking brains work. Look,
I know. I don't believe that there's something out there. I like to believe in ghosts. I don't know why. I don't know if I just like the kind of like the mystery and stuff of it. But like anytime I watch like these ghost hunters and like Yvette Fielding's on about, like, I don't buy it. Like, I don't like it's horseshit. But I'm more partial to believe, like, if somebody tells me like a story, I'm like, that is weird.
To make it more kind of personal.
Aye.
I'll tell you something, right? I've played roulette, right? And I've had it happen one time where I started noticing patterns, and in roulette, like, there really isn't any sort of like detecting pattern. Oh, landed on that, so it's likely to land on that. It's a kind of trick that your brain plays. But I got noticed on what, because they used to have these guys playing it, and there was these groups of like Scottish guys, so I'd always play on their table, and the guy who's spinning the ball started saying this thing about reversers, right? So if it lands on 13, the reverser of that is 31. If it lands on 12, the reverser of that is 21. And what's the other one? 23 and 32. So you only get 3 possible reversers. But then if it lands on 32, it could go back to 23. So, you know, if it lands
what about, like, did you say 12?
Yeah, so 12, 20, 12, 21, 32, 23, 13 and 31, right? So there's 6. If it lands on any one of them, there's a reverse to that.
Right.
So whenever it do it, like if it landed on 13,
the next shot he would put on 31.
If it ever did land on 13 and then landed on 31 directly after it, this guy who's spinning the ball would go, oh, and we've got another reverser.
Right.
And it's rare, but then it starts to stick out in your mind. You're like, because then you're like, what does he say, a reverser? Oh, because it's the reverse of that. Okay, I get it. And then you'll hear him like an hour later say it again. Oh, we've got another reverser. And then so you start thinking,
then you're like, that happens every time.
Yeah, that's because your brain starts paying attention to it. And it might have landed on 13 like 20 times before it hit. Yeah. Them. But so I've had it happen where I was playing roulette, and I started off, you know, I had like about £80 on it or something like that. And through the course of just not really caring and just betting on random shit, I got down to like 30 quid.
Mm-hmm.
And it landed on 31.
Oh shit, a reverser.
And I thought, do you know what, 30 quid, I'm probably just going to lose this. And I didn't put the whole 30 on, but I put £10 on 13 to come up. And it came up.
Holy shit.
And then, you know, I won like £360. And then I'm like,
days.
Holy fuck, like that fucking reversal, it worked. Wow, that's cool. And then, but I'm aware as well that that's just, then I'm going to get conditioned to think that reversers come up all the time. And of course they don't. Like, you know, if you were just betting on reversals, you'd fucking lose more than you'd win. Yeah. But my point was, when that came up, right, so what you could say is, I put a bet down.
Mm-hmm.
I went into a casino and I put a bet down on £10, and it landed. What's the chances of that?
Yeah.
And then, but if you break it down, you go, well, actually, the chances, I mean, how many numbers are there on the board?
Yeah.
You know, there's 36, including the 0, you've got 37.
Yeah. What?
37.
Oh shit!
So.
Tell you.
So, like, you've got 37 possible numbers that could come up on the roulette wheel.
Mm-hmm.
That's not outside of the realms of fucking possibility that you'll put, you know what I mean? That's actually quite a small number.
1 in 37.
Yeah, that's quite a fucking... I mean, if the lottery was 1 in 37,
oh aye,
we'd all be winners, you know?
Yeah.
So, it's really not that big a thing.
No.
But your brain makes it into this fucking thing. Like, I can't believe that I won. Then you have to consider, well, I mean, how long was I playing? I was playing for a while. Like, you know, it wasn't like it was my first hand down and blah, blah, blah. Like, do you know what I mean? You make it in your head into this bigger thing than it actually is. And that's the whole problem with fucking big numbers. Like, I think Stephen Fry gave the example of, like, if you are thinking about someone, say I was like sitting here on my computer, I'm working away, and then just for whatever reason I see something that reminds me of you, and then you phone, and then I'd be like, holy fuck, I'd be like, dude, I was just thinking about, I just thought about you, and you phoned. Actually, this happened to me the other day, I'll tell you about, which is kind of a bit more out there one, you know.
Right.
So yeah, you phoned, blah blah blah. So, but how many people during the day when I'm working away? Not how many people phone me, because that might be rare, but how many people do I think about?
Yeah.
Because once I've thought, say if I thought about you at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and then nothing happened,
you wouldn't be like, I thought you probably nothing happened.
Yeah, it'd just be like, I probably think about 100 people a day. It probably happens. And so the chances of someone phoning when I happen to be thinking about them, it's actually not that big of a thing. But our brains just make it into this fucking, oh my god, I can't believe the coincidence. What's the chances of that? So this happened the other day, right? Now, this was a little bit weird, because this just doesn't happen.
Go get a cup of tea, bad 4 minutes.
Bad 4 minutes. I hope he means back in 4 minutes.
Talking to us or himself?
I don't know. I'm sick of him shitting on my podcast.
Same man.
So I'll tell you, we've only got like 15 minutes.
This is flew by.
I'll tell you what happened the other day. We were in the shops. And this is a shop we don't usually go to. I don't know if that really makes a difference or not. But Sainsbury's and so on, right? And so there's this guy at the counter, and they've got like a sort of pharmaceutical bit. Yeah. You know, and there's this guy
try to get your paracetamol.
Yeah. This guy with ponytail.
It's the bad 4 minutes.
Oh, it's really weird does that. It's waited a while to do it.
Looks like an hour or something.
Well, there's not much we can do this, I guess.
How long does this, is it always last 4 minutes? What you saying, 4 minutes?
I don't know. I wish it
as well. Look at the podcast. What's that?
A sign.
Blood.
I don't know. We'll be back in however many fingers.
4 minutes. Just do 4.
I'll tell you the same. It's a bit crunchy. So there's a guy there with his ponytail, and I thought to myself, I was like, holy fuck, that looks like you in the third. Right? It was like we used to hang about with. We knew a bunch of units,
right.
And this guy got the title. We knew who you in the first was. You in the second, we knew who he was. And then so it was like this guy. Oh fuck it, let's just call him Pete. Like I guess he's the third guy to show up.
I like that as a nickname. Yeah.
Even though it could be argued that he was a fourth, but anyway.
Right.
So this guy's doing the third, and it's weird because the first and the second like didn't really stick, but this guy was doing the third. Like it just sounded.
It sounds right.
Good. So I saw this guy in the shop and I thought, holy fuck, is that you in the third? And so I started walking up. The closer I got to him, I realised it wasn't. He was too tall because I thought, and Ewan doesn't have a ponytail, but I knew sometimes he'd grow his hair like a little bit, maybe down to there. Yeah. And I thought, I've not seen this guy in years.
Yeah.
You know,
he could have a ponytail.
I thought, yeah, he could have grown out. And then I started thinking, like, how weird would it be if he fucking like grew his hair out and had a ponytail and all that stuff? That'd be fucking mental. And so I'm there for 5 minutes just thinking about you in the third.
Just standing, like blank expression on your face. Like like chaos, like shops, like people are shopping, like you're in the way, folk.
Drooling.
It's like you're having like a Scrubs moment, like GD when he just stops.
Yeah.
My wonder.
That's what it was like. So, But so I just, spent about 5 minutes thinking about you and the third. I hadn't seen him in ages, and wow, imagine I did bump into him, and he was like looking totally different. He was taller, had a ponytail, maybe he'd been to the gym, and he was like really buff, and he was just this completely different person.
Yeah.
How weird, because that could easily have happened. I've not
Good.
seen him in years. So I just started thinking about that. Then I walk around another aisle.
Oh no.
It wasn't him.
The fuzz is away.
Fuzz is away. Good. So then I walk around another aisle.
Yeah.
And there's his dad. You and the third's dad.
That is a bit weird.
So it wasn't like I'd seen him and then his dad was there. The guy who I thought was him wasn't him.
Could you maybe have like seen like you and the third's dad like?
Yeah, maybe
peripheral
subconsciously
vision or
then started, Darren Brown kind of shit. That could have happened. But the thing is, that got me thinking, there's nothing wrong with that having just been a completely random coincidence.
Yeah.
It happens. And when...
But like you're saying, if you'd been like, is that you and the third? Stood and thought about it for 5 minutes, and then never seen you and's dad, you wouldn't have thought anything of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be like, I thought I seen you in the third, but then it wasn't him.
But
You'd be like, that's a non-story.
Yeah. But even then, it still is a non-story because what I was thinking about at the time was, if it'd been in the context where something benefited me, and I could tell this weird coincidence where but nothing benefited me,
Yeah.
Like I saw his dad, and I was like, I haven't seen him in years either, and it's weird because I was just thinking about you, and then there's his dad. What a weird coincidence. And if there was any sort of morality involved in that story, people could take, oh yeah, that was God trying to tell me something there. That was God having a wink at me. Mm-hmm. But no, nothing happened.
Aye. I tricked myself into thinking something weird was happening for the other week there, right? So some mornings I'm an early shift at work, so I'll finish at 3 o'clock, and I'll be tired because it's a fucking early shift. So I'll go home for a nap, right? But then I was like, the other week I was like, no more naps. Right? No more fucking naps, right? It's not happening.
No more naps.
No more naps. No more naps. So I downloaded this app, right?
Can we make that a wrestling chant somehow?
No more
No more naps.
Aye.
Like
his moves like
is
like a sleeper hold.
No, when both wrestlers are down, when there's like a double KO,
Aye.
that's when everyone has to chant no more naps. We're going to turn that into a wrestling
right. No more naps. Somebody could make that happen.
We'll get that on Raw one of these days.
So I'm like, no more naps. So then I fucking so I download this app, and it's like a sleep app, right? And I've heard about these before, and they track your sleep and all this kind of stuff. And I think it listens, like the app listens, and like it uses your breathing. Like you must breathe different when you're in a deeper sleep. Like you maybe breathe shallow or something like that, because you leave the phone at like the side of your bed.
Yeah.
Right, and so I was doing it, and then it kind of gets you to, like, before you go to sleep, at like, how was your day? Was it a stressful day? Have you drunk coffee and all that kind of stuff? And you just like tick me boxes. Like
sleep tracker.
Aye, and are you sleeping in your own bed at Ashley and different stuff like that as well? Have you done exercise?
Have you done exercise? Are you in your own bed?
I was up all night. So
what is this perverted thing?
So it does all this, and then like it shows you your graph through the night, and it shows you different times when you're like sleeping late and all this kind of stuff. And then what it does is like you sleep in blocks. So like you sleep in like, I think
Sounds
it's like
sore. Sorry.
fucking like on Lego and that. You're on lines and that when you wake up. So you sleep in like the way your sleep works is you sleep in blocks, so you go in and out of deep stages of sleep, right? And it's on like a cycle, like everybody's kind of the same. But what this app kind of does, if it says like what time do you want to wake up at, right? And so I'm like, right, say I want to wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning. You'll tell it 6 o'clock in the morning, and then what it does is it says like, right, okay, so I'm going to wake you up between 5:30 and 6, right? When you're sleeping the lightest, so it's easy for you to get up, right? So like, and this was going on like so. And what it was doing was like, I would be like fucking like stirring in the bed, and then I'd be like kind of half awake, and then it would go off. And I was like, fuck, that's telling me to get up. I was like, I'm ready to get up because I feel like my sleep cycle has ended. And this was going on. I was telling people at work about it, and I was like, this fucking thing knows when I've finished sleeping. It knows when I've had enough sleep. I was like, I don't know how it fucking does it. I thought it was just guessing. But what it was doing was it obviously is just hearing me wake up, and it's like, right, get up. Do you know what I mean? I was like, so I fucking don't know. But it was kind of cool though to see. And honestly, like, but see, since getting that app as well, like, I had a weekend off there, and usually I would like fucking sleep really late. But like, I would wake up and be like, right, I'm going for a pee, and then I'd just be like, I'd just be awake. Like at 8 o'clock, like on my fucking Saturday off, I'm like, I'm awake. No, I wouldn't get up and like let's go and fucking like run up a hill or something like that. I'm just going to fucking like sit and have a coffee and stuff like that. But I'd be awake because like my body's just woken up when it's ready to wake up, and that kind of app is just like, right, now it's time to get up because you've woken yourself up. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's quite cool though. I don't know, but then at the same time, I was like, this is really working. But then I was like, I don't know what it does for me looking at my sleep. It helps me get up in the morning. But then there was one night that I fucking got up at like 3 o'clock. Right, I looked at my phone. It was like 3 o'clock, and I'm like, I need to get up. So I got up, went for like a pee, and went and had like a drink of juice, and then went back to bed. And I must have been up for about 5 or 10 minutes. But then I looked at it in the morning, and it didn't register it. But I was like, that's weird.
No, there's a benefit to it. Timothy Ferris has a bunch of stuff on tracking sleep patterns and, all to do with the benefits of polyphasic sleep versus REM sleep and all this, and how you can track your sleep through. He has this like thing that emits like a blue light kind of thing, and
right.
So it's interesting to look into anyway. Timothy Ferris, he's got like those books, The 4 Hour Body and The 4 Hour Work Week and all that stuff, how to improve all that stuff. But I was going to say, I've got a sleep related story. Last night, so I put a film on, lying in bed watching a film. Hazel falls asleep, and oh yeah, I'm telling on you. So she's lying sleeping. I'm there. I've got 2 pillows, right? I'm with my arm like that. She, in her sleep, just pulled out the fucking pillow right under me. And like clingies up and starts cuddling it. And I'm just there like, donk. I just fucking turn the light on. And I'm just looking at her and she's oblivious to what she's just done. And I'm just looking at her, I'm like, are you fucking serious? And then she kind of wakes up and she's got like her eye mask thing on and she's like kind of looking up to see through it. And I'm like, she's like, what? I'm like, you just fucking swiped that pillow out from under me. Like, she's sleeping but managed to do that. Anyway, there was something else I was going to say.
You're waking up like stealing the pillow back. No more naps. She's like, fuck, it's like 3 in the morning.
Yeah, we're near the end. I was kind of wanting to talk about the wrestling game that I'm working on, but we can do that next week.
Next week. We can have another wrestling podcast. I've been watching a lot of wrestling, so I'm loving it. Yeah. I
will do a wrestling podcast. I'm thinking with all the stuff that's going on, like our goal that we set at the beginning of.
What was the goal?
The goal to get Grado.
Oh, right, aye. Is it getting more likely?
Well, I've not had a chance to speak to him or anything, but just with everything that's happening, I think we're in a better position for it to happen. So that would be awesome if we could get Grado on. And a bunch of those guys as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, Grado's the hot topic just now. But what else I was going to say? Oh, yeah,
I don't know what I would say. I just feel like there was like a guy, I don't know. Like, it wasn't bad when Loki was on because I didn't really know who he was. But then when Loki, like, I didn't really feel I could contribute anything to what he was saying. But then because obviously I know who Grado is, I'm just like,
yeah.
Hey, Mr. Grado.
Loki done a thing the other night there on that. What was it? What was the thing he was on, Hazel? Loki was. There was a political thing that was on the other night. I can't remember what it was called. Alright, type in Loki politics, you'll get it. The other thing I was going to say is quite good, that people should check out if they're interested in. I did a film called We Need to Talk About Islam. If people are interested in that type of stuff, there's a guy, I think his name's Devin Tracy. He's got a YouTube channel called Atheism is Unstoppable.
Right.
And because his stuff keeps getting blocked, it's actually his 4th account. So you would need to search for Atheism is Unstoppable 4.
That must be pretty hard.
And dude, the guy's fucking hilarious. Like, it's so funny, man. If you give it a chance and you watch some of this shit, and some of his stuff's like an hour long, some of his stuff's
Common Wheel-Faced. Common Nest.
Communist Wheel-Faced.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That must have been the
Loki thing.
The Loki thing. But yeah, so Atheism is Unstoppable 4. He's doing a lot of shit on Islam right now and attacking the Young Turks because they are doing what I pointed out in the film.
Does he tell us how to pronounce Muslim properly?
He doesn't.
Is it Muslim or Muslim?
But doesn't. I'm going to start pronouncing it however he pronounces it.
Right, okay.
Anyway, going to wrap up now.
That was a quick one.
Thanks for everyone. Thanks for everyone, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Well, we won't see them next week.
Who knows?
We'll see it.
I'm just gonna have to start streaming. Yeah, man. Just whatever. Alright, folks. Chairman of the board. We should be coming through okay and everything.
My name is Sam, and that's not all. I got a pretty good show with my good friend Paul. So listen up to the chairman of the board. I talk to him and he talks to me. We talk a lot of shit, but you get it for free. So don't complain, these gadgets cost a lot. So now we're at the end of the song, and everybody knows what's going on. So here we have the chairman of the, yes we have the chairman of the board. Because we're bored.
Hi, folks. Just give us just. I'm just checking that we're actually coming through because I haven't actually tested the mics. So I'm watching the podcast on my iPad just to make sure that there's audio. I've got audio on this thing. That's cool.
Is that the live stream, eh?
Yeah. I need to wait till the intro. The board.
Because we're bored. Hello.
Alright, cool. Yeah.
That's fucking weird, son.
Right, that's fine.
Hello, hello,
We're
hello.
good.
I can't hear my headphones. Can you hear me?
Your headphones.
That's right up.
1 sec. Talk.
Talking. I can hear it, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Easy.
Sorry, folks. We're a bit all over the place. I'm turning the volumes up a little bit. Just talk, Paul, again.
Talking about stuff. Talking
Right.
about chairman of the
You
board.
shouldn't be too loud or anything. Aye, this is a bit of an impromptu, I guess.
It's always impromptu now, Sam.
It is.
I just kind of take Sam and be like, you like podcasts? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, in fact, you know what we'll do as well?
What will we do, Sam? Tell me.
Just,
Got some stuff this week.
just to be extra safe.
Yeah?
Oh
What
no,
the fuck is that?
we are not receiving video data.
Fucking, I disagree with that point. I agree with him. It's easier to work on older cars because they're simpler. But I don't know why I was defending it. I was like, no, you're wrong. And I just fucking, I don't know. I was like, that's a really weird angle for me to take.
Well, but what? So what? You mean you're going back now on what you said? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if I was just wanting to wrong him or like if I was I'd just try to be difficult or something. But like I kind of agree with him, to be honest. And then even thinking about my
But
point,
it's like you were saying though, a bit like they've got more in them now.
yeah. But
so-
then even I said on the podcast, I was like, they've got more in them, so more can go wrong. And I was like, that's a backwards point. That doesn't. Do you know what I mean? And he was like, the older ones are simpler. And you're like, yeah, but the new ones have got more in them, so more can go wrong. Do you know what I mean? His thing was that the older
but I
ones
mean,
were
like,
simpler,
But if it's a spaceship, right? If we had a spaceship,
right?
and then someone said to you, "Oh, we've got a spaceship.
Uh-huh.
We can fly out into space,"
Yes.
and then you said, but more can go wrong. A car's easier. Like, yeah, more can go wrong because there's more. Like your point, I thought your point was valid. There's more stuff. It's far more complicated.
But
so
even in the sense,
there's
like,
more of a potential
when he
of
was
things
talking
going
about
wrong.
like mechanics and stuff like that, he was like, "Oh, mechanics like think that like older cars are like far easier to work on because there is less like it's just like an engine, like it's more mechanical, and it's easier to fix, like it is."
Yeah.
And like rather than all this other shit like air conditioning units and things that can like fuck up and cost like a lot of money to replace, like older cars are far easier to like. I think they are, but I don't know why I was like, and I do kind of like did see where he was coming from, but I kind of I agree with like what I was saying as well, but I think I went too far and I was like to a point, and I was after it, I was just like, I don't know if I like agreed with myself that much. I was just like feeling I was just like, no, you're wrong. But I thought I was like that was really weird for me to do.
Yeah.
Because I've always been like, I fucking don't know. Like I've got a new car, and like the fucking finance that we don't want to speak about and all that kind of stuff. But like sometimes I wish I had an older car just because I like them better. Do you know what I mean?
Well, car enthusiasts tend to like
yeah,
the
I
older
suppose
models
so.
better.
Aye.
it's a weird one for me to talk about because I really don't know anything about
Uh-huh.
cars. Like, I'm really fucking. I was never into cars, like growing
Uh-huh.
up or anything like that. It was just not a thing that interested me at all.
Uh-huh.
And so, like, we'll be walking down the street, and like Hazel. Fast enough. What the fuck?
Is that
All
right?
right, yeah. Kieran's saying it looks and sounds great. I'll tell you what, just Kieran, if you can just message us again, just to let us know it's still good.
Or did
'cause
you
it's-
post it on the Facebook, Sam?
Yeah,
Right, I'll share it on mine as well.
it's coming up that we've got a bad stream. I don't know. So give us another comment, Kieran, and let us know. Fucking hell. I don't know why. I don't know why it does that. I think it just. Oh, there we are. It's set to good now.
Are we good?
It should
We
be
are
fine.
live.
Why
live.
doesn't it just work? Still waiting on that message.
Nothing just
Kieran.
works, Sam.
Let me just turn off everything
I think.
I've got up here because maybe
Yeah.
that's fucking with stuff. How's it going, Paul? How are you doing?
I'm good, Sam. I've got some things this week.
Got some news.
I've got some funny stories. I've got some anecdotes.
I'm not getting a comment for Kieran here.
It's because the satellite delay. Or maybe it's just because the whole fucking thing's crashed.
Refresh it. Yes, everything is fine. Right,
yes,
cool.
everything is
Right,
fine.
everything's good. Woohoo!
Good in the
we
hood.
can-
Hello, Kieran.
And hello, Kieran. Aye, but the one guy that's watching
The one guy
probably.
that's watching. And maybe your mum. Your mum sometimes watches. Hello, Kieran.
Kieran's one. All right, my mum. I
Kieran's mum might be watching. I don't know.
was gonna say.
It could be like a family. They could be sitting down with the dinner. I don't know. Eating
Yeah.
some vegetarian pasta.
Chairman of the board, family moment.
Pasta and broccoli. Yeah.
Whoo! So, aye.
So
Well,
this is the
we
fallout of the Chris Fleming podcast.
yeah, we kind of haven't done a podcast, just me and you, for a while because
Mm-mm.
it'd been ages, and then we had Chris on, and then
Yeah.
the first one he had to leave, and then the second one we had him back on.
Yeah.
So we've not done one in a while, I guess.
No, I know. I forgot kind of what to do about it. There was one thing I was thinking about today, in the past couple of days actually. I've not watched it all back. I watched some of it back. But one thing I thought, I don't know why I did it when he was on, but I did this, like, me and him were having a wee debate about the whole electric cars and, like, older cars, and he was saying the older cars were better because they were, like, easier to fix and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, but, like, newer cars, like, you can just plug it in and all that kind of stuff. Like,
You know, my fiance knows more about cars than I do.
uh-huh.
Like, she'll be able to say that's a Mercedes or a Nissan or a BMW or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I'm just like the blue one. Like, you know, I
Aye.
can't look at a car and tell what make or model or anything
Uh-huh.
like that. I don't know anything about the insides of a car. I really just don't know anything about a car.
Just like a thing.
So when you're saying like the older ones are, there's less goes wrong with it,
No, I don't know if it's like less goes
or
wrong
that it's
with
easier to.
It's easier to kind of fix because
Mm.
it's just like essentially like an engine and like the runnings of the engine
But
and then
isn't
the
it
car
like-
attached to it.
So one thing I do know about is PCs,
Yeah.
and I know about the internals of a PC and the motherboard and the RAM and all that stuff. Now I used to have towers, like I used to have about 6 towers, and
Uh-huh.
they'd all have. None of them would be working. They'd all
Right.
have like different parts wrong with them or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And I'd play around with them and stuff like that. And I'd be more likely to fix one of them if something
Then to
goes
fix-
wrong.
Then to fix a car.
Well, than to fix like a Mac. You know,
Aye.
so you
Maybe
could say
that's-
it's easier to fix
So
those
they-
ones.
that's
I know
like
what I
a
was
new
doing.
like your Mac's like a new electric car and they're like the older cars.
Yeah, but if you ask me, would I rather have a Mac, which is harder for me to go in and fix, and I can't.
Yeah.
Fucking, but with everything that it's like, it's so compact and so like it's just
It's just
perfect.
nice.
Would I rather have that or something that I can tinker around with?
Yeah.
Like, no, I'd rather have the Mac.
But then like see like if you ask people that were like like PC enthusiasts, like the gaming guys, they'd be like, no, give me a PC, I can put like a motherboard in it, like a graphics card, and it'll be like the fucking bomb.
You will get that, because, and I think there's a nostalgia to it as well. I
Yeah.
think people who have invested time in tinkering
Uh-huh.
around with shit, they don't want to see that as time wasted. Because I could
No.
easily look at the Mac and say everything I learned about how to install a RAM chip, you know, how like fucking around with the motherboard,
That's like irrelevant on this.
yeah, flashing drives, like it's completely irrelevant.
Uh-huh.
It's almost like it's time wasted.
Yeah, and they
But
always say like,
I'm
we like
not
the,
holding on to that baggage though.
Uh-huh.
Like, You know, I don't care. I'm fairly happy with the Mac. And
Uh-huh.
yeah. Well, people who like to customize things,
They
can
go
in
for
whatever.
other stuff, and they'll say like with a Mac, like if it goes wrong, like just get a new one, or like they'll replace it or something like that. They won't bother like taking it apart and like replacing this and that. They'll just be like, just get a new one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I kind of thought, like, because I love my cars and that, and I've always thought that about cars like this. The simpler they are, the kind of easier.
So
like,
then you're
fix, and I
wondering,
was just
why am
like,
I disagreeing with Chris Fleming?
I felt like I was, but then even in my argument, I was like, just like, my argument isn't holding up here. And I wonder if people were sitting there going like, he's fucking talking like bullshit, because I'm sure I said at a point like, there's more things to go wrong. So like, that was like a pro for the newer cars. I fucking don't know what I said, but I was just like, I don't really feel this
You were
makes
saying
sense.
there's more things to go wrong. That's obvious because there's more
But then,
stuff in
but
there.
then I was like, but then you can plug this thing in, it'll tell you what goes
Yeah.
wrong. But then surely, like, if it's older, then there's less to go wrong. But I suppose it's harder to figure out what is going wrong with it. I don't know.
Well, look, even if it's older, that's not the point though. Even if it's older and it's easier to find out what's because there's not air conditioning, there's not a CD player, there's not all these electronics. So yeah, it's easier. But the point is, what would you rather have? Realistically,
Something easier.
You need fucking air conditioning in your car.
Yes.
So you could say, well, remove the air conditioning. That way, if something goes wrong, it's easy to fix. But then
Yeah.
you're removing air conditioning. You need the air
I
conditioning.
know what you mean.
You need like those little improvements, those little things that
They make it better.
that might be harder to fix. And you're saying like, I mean, you do get this code reader, whatever it is, that you can plug in and help detect problems. You need all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you don't need it, obviously, but what would you rather have at the end of the day? You're weighing up the problems versus what you can benefit from, the features of it.
I know what you mean. There was
I would rather have a new car, and especially if we're talking
I think the thing that annoys me.
I've just
about,
realised as well. This was the point of the conversation that was putting everyone to sleep last week.
I think I started to lose the point. Like sometimes I was just like, I don't know where it was going. Do you know what I mean? And then I think sometimes I zoned in and out of things, and then I don't know if I was just trying to make it fun for myself, but just kind of like. But I just was
to be
like,
fair to you as well, you were up at 6 the next morning, so
I
you
know.
were probably
I
pretty
went
fucking
to
tired.
fucking bed. I know, and then fucking was so late as well. But like the other week, my car was like, as you all know, my car is a brand new top of the line, fucking ticked up to my eyeballs on this fucking car and all this kind of stuff. But like the other week, it was just like it's really been shit recently, and it's like an engine problem as well. Like I know it's not like an electrical thing. So my pal's a mechanic, right?